welcome back to the Giant Beastcast, the number one show in the history of mankind. That's basically what I'm going with now. The history of mankind, above and beyond, the universe, all dimensions. We did it, the last podcast ever to be listened to as the crackles and radio waves fade away at the edge of the universe. This is what you will hear. It is episode Friday. This is what you will hear. It is Friday, episode 259th here on either. It's not really Friday. If it's Friday, it's May 8th. If it's Thursday, it's May 7th. I don't know what I should do anymore. At some point, we'll go back to a Friday post. Who knows? But if you're watching this live, it is Thursday, May 8th. If you're listening to it on your normal slot, it is May 7th. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. Got kind of some news coming up today, so stick around. We'll talk about some of that Xbox gameplay reveal a little later. I'm joined by Alex Navarro.
Gameplay?
Yeah, I don't know.
Abby Russell.
Hello.
Okay, let me hear that squeak.
Guys, I want everybody to listen in. Put your ears close to the speaker.
I just put my ear to my microphone like a fucking idiot.
Wait, hold on,
hear
Abby.
that?
Abby, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, you can't hear anything. My whole house smells like Murphy's Miracle Oil, but you know what? My chair ain't squeaking no more. No more squeak chair.
You soak your chair in olive oil?
You put some bacon grease on there? Love it.
Good job.
So Murphy's Miracle Oil. Is it enough for floors? Is that for anything?
I used it on my motorcycle
and
moped when I have used it.
Great.
Yes. It worked fine.
It did work fine.
Yeah.
No more
It's not
squeak.
squeaky anymore. It's weird.
I miss it.
I know. I miss the resistance. It's a little too easy to whoa.
You know what it was? That squeak was real. That was real life right there. And now with it gone, it just feels
too
like
polished.
Yeah.
Jeff Backlar also here. Nice hat, Jeff.
Thank you. I'm also possibly gameplay. Maybe I'm in development and perhaps
we'll get there.
In-game Bacalar, or at least what we expect to be in-game Bacalar.
We'll get
there. What I'm saying.
We'll get there. Jeff is wearing a fantastic Giant Bomb hat. I don't know what we call that hat.
That is a good one.
What is that hat called?
Fancy creative, fancy cursive hat.
Okay, that's it. You can get that hat possibly over at store.giantbomb.com. Boy, I hope that's the URL. Also, I should mention the sale still going on. All throughout the month of May. Folks, if you're inclined, $35 gets you a whole year of that Giant Bomb Premium, a whole year. If you want to do a free trial, if you sign up for the free trial and then it's over, you can roll right into that sale price as well during the month of May. So if you want to try to buy, you will get that sale price. That is giantbomb.com/upgrade. Last week we played a whole bunch of Minecraft together, which welcome to the internet. Here we are, 2006. We're doing it. Finally, we were able to do it. I had fun.
Yeah, welcome to 2006. Here's your copy of Minecraft and your 15-minute podcast.
Yes, and we also, the folks should know that we also recorded episode 360 of the Hotspot. So yes, welcome to 2006. Games, video games, and life.
I hate them.
Which one?
All of them.
Okay, the video games. Let's assume. We've got a Microsoft press conference stuff we'll get to later. First, I'll just quickly say I played a little of that Division 2 New York. Going back to New York, where they take all your levels and then your world level numbers and then change it back to so once you complete the levels in New York, or in Washington, get to level 30, then you start doing like world numbers. I'm 515 on a level. Then you go back to New York, and it changes you back to level 30 so they can get to level 40. It's very weird. It's a little strange. Throw, like anything else where they do this stuff, throw all your old gear away and start getting new gear. The New York DLC for the Division 2 is interesting. It seems very compact in a way that I kind of like. I've done about half of it so far in 1.5 nights of playing, so it doesn't seem super, super duper long, at least the main story stuff. Odd thing is, for those who are interested in it, once you engage in that piece of DLC for Division 2, you cannot go back to Washington until you finish the story part of it. They don't let you bounce back and forth. So if you're playing with other people and they don't have the DLC and you start the DLC, be aware that you will not be able to travel back to join them in a party.
I mean, once you live in New York, why would you ever want to go back to DC, right?
There you go. That's right. Why would you? The other thing I played a little bit of, I haven't played too much this week, but I played a little bit of and got really, really frustrated to the point of maybe just saying, what am I doing here? Is that Animal Crossing some more? When just kind of. So here, okay, so I brought this up before.
I'm ready for it.
Sure.
Is it too hard, Vinny? Too challenging?
I just don't understand that vaulting pole. No, the they need to let you change the island representative. I'm at the point now where my son doesn't play it that much, and the island is in stasis. Like the island will not move forward. The island representative, the person that was the first person to make the island, gets all the power, and then anybody else that is on that system as a separate account who joins that island is kind of subordinate to that person. So Tom Nook will only give that person the ability to do a public works project or to do big milestones to move the island forward. And it's gotten to the point where I don't even know what we're supposed to be doing unless I log in as him and then go talk to Tom Nook, and Tom will be like, hey, you want to do this thing? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been like 3 weeks. I'm just sitting in limbo here. And that's terrible. And I don't care about any of their BS about the multiple things on a system, whatever, do whatever. But Nintendo, just let people change the island representative, because there are numerous people out there who bought this game to play with their family or were like, let's start an island. And then their kid or significant other started an island and they don't play anymore. But they were the one who really wanted to play Animal Crossing. But they were like, here's a great way to get Animal Crossing in the house and also make it look like I'm getting a gift for somebody. And then they sat there next to him while they started the island. We're like, oh, that's a fun name. That's cute. Okay, whatever.
I don't know, man. I mean, it kind of just sounds like your son is a deadbeat. Like, it just sounds like he's an absentee landlord.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yes. But what do you do there? You got to take over the island. Or I could start the whole thing over again, which...
You could sue him.
You got to get your villagers to sign a petition for better infrastructure. That's
right. We're going to run this guy out of town.
I tell him you're going to engage in a rent strike.
I don't really know... I've been trying to think, because it kind of made me probably more angry than it should, but it does really ruin the experience in that game. Not being able to move forward as somebody who wants to play it. Why can't you change the island representative back and forth? Like, just
don't ask questions like that.
Like even Nintendo, listen to me, Nintendo. Just do it once a month, or do the Nintendo thing. We have to spend a bunch of Nook miles to do it. I don't care. Just let me change it so that I could just be.
Or just let you build a damn bridge. Like, you don't need the island representative. Like, let you build a damn bridge.
Yeah, or at least to start it. It's just it's a weird thing. And not to mention all the stuff that I kind of got over last time about him getting all the recipes because I don't get those original recipes for the stuff. I have to learn them later. Like, I'm at the point now where they're selling the outdoorsman fishing rod or whatever it is, like the next level up in the Nook's Cranny. And I don't know if you ever get recipes for those. Do you?
For which?
The better fishing rods, like outdoorsy fishing rod or outdoorsy slingshot.
Oh, no, you never get recipes for those. You just buy them. My understanding is they have the same durability as like the iron fishing rod or the one step up from the flimsy. Okay. They just are cosmetically different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's that. I have not played any more Final Fantasy Chimera Squad or Gears Tactics, but Alex, have you?
Not a lot. I did play a little more. I did play a little more Chimera Squad. I think I'm nearing not necessarily the conclusion, but it feels like I'm getting pretty far into where that thing is, because I don't think that's a super long game. Unless they're going to throw a bunch of new stuff at me at some point. It feels like I'm kind of getting to the wind down a little bit on it. It's still good. I mean, I'm still enjoying playing it. I think my criticisms are exactly what they were last week, which is to say that I don't think they completely nail the tone of what they're going for. I think it's mechanically very interesting, but also just like they don't have the chops to make the charming, like character-driven XCOM thing, or at least not in this game. They didn't. So we'll see. I don't know. I like it. I don't know that I'm 100% sold on like this being the bold new direction for XCOM. But as a side venture, I'm into it. I wonder what this bodes for the future of that series.
Yeah,
still.
I'm all for them experimenting with stuff. It's not. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. What I've played of it so far, it's not that I dislike it. It just is not. If I had the choice, I'd be like, yeah, maybe take some stuff from this, but don't go all in. Anything else you've been playing?
Yeah, pretty much all I do at this point is play Animal Crossing. I kept meaning to get back to Cloudpunk this week, but I just didn't. It's been a weirdly hectic week, so I just kind of didn't get to dig into too much stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we had a blitz last week, and then I found myself in kind of a not a video game rut, but not turning the systems on that much this week. Abby Russell, do you play anything?
Yeah.
What?
Not really. No, I feel
Great.
like I have not been playing much for a while. Still playing Animal Crossing. I will say have y'all done like the May Day stuff? I think it's over. I think it was like the 1st to the 5th.
Yeah.
I did the maze.
So the May Day stuff, it was a lot of incentives of like, hey, go and plant a bunch of flowers, put in bushes, whatever. There's also some other new items that came with it. Like there were bushes, and they had this new like fencing that was like hedges, which were nice. And they also had, similar to the Nook Miles Islands, they gave you like a free island to go to that was a maze. And I really loved the maze. I thought it was very cleverly done. They basically used the terraforming rules. So there are rules where it's like, hey, if you have like one square of water or like a hole you've dug, you can jump over it. Fine. But you can't, it was very smartly done.
Yeah, it was cute.
And stuff as far as like, there was like an axe that would like, oh, this is going to break after just a couple hits. So you got to make sure you use it right. And then you have to, it was well done and like a good challenge. I felt it was like just the right amount of challenge. But also I thought it was a thing that, I thought that there were going to be more of them. I thought it was like the Nook Miles where it's like, you could just visit a few of these and it was like, oh, there was just one, which was kind of a bummer because it was such a cool thing. And I thought it was so creative and so interesting and just really well done. And like an interesting way to sort of like gamify, like have like a puzzle and a very not puzzle game, Anyway, I hope people make their own versions of those on their own islands because it was pretty cool. But I was both very excited about the May Day stuff and also a little bit disappointed because I think I thought there was going to be more.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of the Easter stuff, I was a little like, okay, good. This
it's
maze is fun.
One,
yeah, like it was.
The Easter one was
maybe
all
there's
just
something
like,
in the middle. Maybe there is a middle ground.
It kind of feels like maybe they went all in on the wrong one.
Yeah, perhaps. But I've been enjoying what they've been bringing in. I like my hedges and my bushes. I think I'm sort of slowing on that game a lot just because I feel like I'm like all my major projects were kind of done and like eventually maybe I'll go back in, but I just don't have the same urge to kind of get back in there right now. But I still check in at pretty much every day. So I've been playing that, and then I've been playing a lot of Just Dance Central. I truly confuse them all the time. I don't know which is which, but I'm playing one of them. And I have the unlimited trial, and it's been fun.
You're almost assuredly playing Just Dance.
Definitely are playing Just Dance.
Yeah. But I did their Just Dance Unlimited or like the Ubisoft Unlimited. And it is nice. They offer like playlists that seem to rotate every day, and I usually just do like the 30-minute workout playlist, and it kicks my ass. It is like a legit thing. But yeah, I'm having fun.
Anything else, Abby? We'll go over to Bacalar.
Nothing else I've been playing.
Oh, something you're excited about.
Well, The Sims is announced another expansion pack. I think it's coming out in June. Don't quote me on that. I can look, I guess. It's like Eco Lifestyle, I think is what it's called. So it's basically like your town is full of pollution and smog. Go fix it. Recycle. Like turn objects into other objects. Which I think is interesting. I think it's like they're very much trying to like stick to the times. It's maybe not like my first instinct on like, this is what I want The Sims to be about. I also feel like, I'm going to sneeze in a second, but I also feel like they kind of offered that, it's gone. They kind of offered that with the island living expansion because there was stuff as far as like conserve the islands, like pick up trash, and it wasn't like at the forefront of it, but it was definitely there, the sort of like island conservation career I think they even had. So it's interesting that it seems like they're sort of going for something somewhat similar, just like leaning all into it. Anyway, I'm still mad. They had a vote about, not this one, it was like a stuff pack. They're doing knitting stuff, which I think is like so fucking dull. But they are they offered they like let the community vote on it, and there was one option that would let you play as like a Grim Reaper career path, and like why the fuck didn't people vote for that one is fucking beyond me. I'm mad about it.
Do you think it's rigged?
Game anyway.
Do you think it's rigged?
I think that the people who vote for these games are fucking boring, I think is what it is.
That's what shots fired against the Sims community. Wow. I
like the Sims community, but like fucking come the fuck on.
Oh
knitting
man,
I
don't know. I've been to some of those
like scratchy sweaters, and like everything is like more expensive than just buying it store bought.
Have you been to that? You have been to those character pages. I've seen the Dobby pages. They are anything but boring. Okay, Abby, that is a crowd that is ready to party.
I know. I feel like the Sims community is either like dull, boring, whatever, or like the most perverted, fucked up possible.
Yes.
And like nothing in between.
That's how I like it. That's how I like my internet. Jeff Bacalar. We're going to get to this Xbox stuff pretty soon here. Jeff Bacalar. What's going on,
we'll
bud?
get to the Xbox stuff. I got some stuff going on. I'm still playing Streets.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know. I'm still playing Streets of Rage 4. It's
that's what I meant to play this week.
Fuck. Well, you're home forever, so
all right.
Plenty of a floor meat that I'm enjoying, and I'm explaining the floor and sort of telephone booth trash can meat phenomenon to my wife, and we're playing it together now. We're doing a little co-op, so that's real dope.
That's nice.
Instead of, blasting through Schitt's Creek, we're taking a little bit of a break, and some nights we're going to play some Streets of Rage 4 is all how we're going to break it up.
What characters are you all using?
I don't know about the names. I'm using the guitar lady.
Okay.
So, and she's using like the big Bionic Man.
Okay. Guitar lady and Bionic Man. Add it again.
Which it could be their names. That's fine.
Yeah.
Still loving it. Still a delight. All the little, touches. I know, like the whole when a new player drops in and everyone just like falls down is such a classic thing. I just love that shit. It's so weird, and I love that I never understood it then, and I sure as shit don't understand it now. What else? I'm playing with my son. We've moved on to a new game called Moving Out.
Oh, I've heard of this.
That's that. That's
kind of like an Overcooked, right?
Yeah, that's that Billy Joel game.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Anthony's game.
There's like this Mama Leone. She's got this note on a door.
Yeah. What happens after that?
She says, "Sonny, move out to the country."
Yeah, and then it's a first-person game. You cannot drive with a broken back. I mean, you want to know by now. All right, this bit's over. This was over before it started.
I love it. I could do the whole song. It's good. I enjoy it. It's a moving simulator, an over-the-top, ridiculous, absurd moving simulator where you go around from property to property and basically just have to like move out a bunch of junk in this isometric view of a house. So there are certain items that require one person, certain items that require two people, and there's just no regard for any of valuables whatsoever. It's just this haphazard, let's literally throw a TV from the top floor of a house into the back of a truck. If it explodes,
it's fine.
So be it.
Okay.
It's fine. Doesn't matter about the shape of anything. It just matters, can you do it in a certain amount of time? And I think it's real fun. It's got a lot of like fun physics about it. You have to work a lot together, and working with a 5-year-old who's just starting to understand dexterity and whatnot, independently moving his digits, it can be a frustrating experience at times, but we're really enjoying it. We're getting through it, and we haven't hit a wall yet. We've definitely had to like redo levels before, but it's fun. And I think it's teaching him like how to use a controller better. So I think that's really cool. When you get to a new property, there's like these items in the property shimmer, and that's how you know what you need to bring into the moving truck. And then they introduce all these fun obstacles. Like there's one house where there's this like water fountain that's basically a moat between the front door and the curb. So you essentially have to throw things from one player to another, and you can like catch them if you time it right. we had a lot of fun tossing this like futon from the top story of a house down a snow sort of hill.
That sounds great.
In front of yeah, it's a fun game.
Fun.
It's silly. The humor in it is pretty harmless and fun. And we're digging it. There's, you can sort of marginally customize your characters, and my kid loves playing as a guy who's basically his head is just like a toaster, and every couple of seconds or whatnot, some toast pops out of his head. That's just what that's what it does.
Moving sucks.
Old toasty head.
I like it.
What toasty head? I'm playing as a sunny side egg. Egg.
Delicious.
Cool.
I love eggs. Also, my cat's getting into something in the room. I'll be right back.
Okay. Where are you playing? On what platform?
I'm playing it on PS4.
Okay.
I was gonna say I think it's on everything.
Seems like I'm looking at a page for it. Switch, PS4, Steam, Xbox One on their page. I don't know if it's come out on everything, but it's at least listed for everything. Do you know how much it was? I'm gonna guess $20. I don't have a price here, but
I want it to be $20.
Okay.
But I did not get the price.
Okay. Yeah,
here,
right.
let's see. No, I'm gonna look it up for you here.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It's fun. I think I think it's definitely a good couch co-op thing to check out during the current situation, during the current climate we're in. That's why for me, playing Streets of Rage 4 and doing these kinds of things is like the perfect sort of recipe for where we're at right now. And I'm kind of digging it. So on Switch it's $25 digitally.
Okay.
And then it says $40 new, which I think is kind of
I don't understand what that means, Jeff.
Pretty wild. Oh, like the physical copy.
That seems bizarre.
It might just be like a weird situation they're having.
Some folks in chat said that it is available on Xbox Game Pass, which is awesome. Game Pass still
sweet.
Still a wonderful thing.
As is Streets of Rage 4, which is like
geez, really? Both of those? Boy.
Yeah, I didn't know Moving Out was on Game Pass, but I did know Streets of Rage 4.
That is what I hear, and I always hear. That is my motto.
Yeah, and I believe it's $30.
We need to talk to you about that motto.
It's pretty good, right? That's what,
yeah, folks, maybe needs a little tweaking.
That's what I hear, and I always hear. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Backlar, anything else you want to talk about?
I do. I want to talk about. Hold on, I have my notes.
Okay.
My notes. I want to talk about. They announced. I mean, this is sort of news, but it's just a little tidbit, so we're just going to hit it now. Maybe they're making a new golf game. They're doing. They're doing PGA Tour 2K
again, or is he canceled?
Yeah, it's just, I put this in the news, Jeff.
You did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We can do it
because there's nothing to really show. I just think it's cool they're making another golf game.
Yeah, so this is 2K. This is their first attempt, as far as I know, getting into the golf business, and it's the developers that made the Golf Club.
Okay, now I'm going to take like a step back from that excitement.
Okay.
Because I've played those games.
Okay. All right. You got to temper your expectations. I see. All right.
I don't know. Okay, man. Why'd you say that, Alex?
He was
in the news.
He was going to wait until the news section.
I mean, who brought this up?
I'm sorry.
I won't do.
I want to get to the rest of your notes here. There's something on here I really want to hear about.
Yeah. So about the VR?
No, underneath that.
Oh, all right. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Oh, all right. We'll do that and then we'll do VR. So my kid bought $25 worth of Blue Acorns again.
From Trials?
What are Blue Acorns?
He did it during the show last week. What's that?
Did he show your credit card information?
No, he's just he must spam the X button until he gets something that works. And I'm during the show last week. I see thank you for your purchase email from Sony, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
When you say during the show, you mean while you're recording this?
During the recording of this, and I'm like, what the fuck are Blue Acorns? And sure enough, during the break, I went out and he's like, I unlocked all these new tracks. I'm like, yeah, because you fucking bought them all.
You're a cliche. You're such an NPR story. You're like, put some parental controls on your stuff.
As someone who was on All Things Considered, I'll have you know, I am an NPR story.
Wait, you were on All Things Considered?
We talked about this before. It's on his Wikipedia page.
Oh, you did. Yeah,
come on.
Nah,
hey,
My brain's all Swiss
I love that you
cheese.
have a Wikipedia page. Vinny, do you have a Wikipedia
Don't do that.
page?
I don't
Vinny,
think
I'm
so.
sure does.
I don't think so.
Alex?
I'm sure Gersman does.
Y'all need to
What?
get Wikipedia pages.
I'm
I
okay.
had one. I had one a long time ago. I think it got deleted for not being relevant enough, and then no one has made a new one since then.
Where does it
It's
say-
like, this has never gotten a single hit. Get rid of it.
Did you get an email that was like, "You're not relevant enough"?
No, I
That's
just
funny.
went to like the Giant Bomb wiki or something, and my name was highlighted, but it was one of those red links, like, oh, that page ain't there anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's
Been
so
flagged.
funny.
So, yeah,
Put the parental controls on. What are you doing?
Okay, so I thought I did after the first Blue Acorn disaster.
Yeah, that's a great
I'm
album
serious.
name. Yeah.
I'm serious. So anyway,
Does he not have
What
his
I
own?
don't
Does he not have his own account?
no, he's 5.
Just put a. But you don't for the PS4. You don't need to have like a email address or anything.
So here's the thing. I'm still, and this is no fault of my own, but I still need to like figure out how, I have 2 PS4s in the house, and I have
Yeah.
to figure out how to make one of them be like the one that doesn't need to check in with the other one before you can sign on. Because I had a bunch of issues last week where like he was playing Rocket League, but I was trying to play Streets of Rage, and we wound up hating each other when it was all said and done.
It's ruining
So
relationships.
it's destroying the family. So I gotta figure that out. And please spare me with like, telling me I'm an idiot and
You're an
saying,
idiot.
just look at this FAQ. I know it's out there. Just life gets in the way sometimes. I haven't figured out. What I can't figure out though
Yeah.
is the fact that when you go to the product page, this little son of a bitch.
Jesus, Jeff. Do
You
you want me
go
to
to
cut
the
that out or
product
something in the
page.
archive? Are you okay with
There's
this?
3 choices for Blue Acorns.
Jeez. Uh-huh.
Okay. On the left side, there's 3 tiles. The left tile is a $5 purchase. On the right is a $10 purchase. And my boy found a way to select the middle one.
Uh-huh.
That's $24.99 worth of blue fucking acorns.
Well, okay. Here's what I'm going to guess. First, I'm going to guess that one probably says best value with a bunch of stars and stuff all over it.
No. He's not attracted to that.
Okay,
and
then
that
the
wasn't
second
there either.
the second thing I'm going to guess is if I were doing that, I would absolutely make the cursor start on that middle one just for that reason.
Yeah.
Smart. You're right. Maybe this is all Sony's fault. But anyway, he bought them, and then I'm like, so I go into the game with him, and I'm like, holy shit, what do I even spend this currency on? I don't even understand. Trials, what is it? Rising Trials? Trials Event? What the hell's the newest Trials game?
Trials.
I don't know.
Uprising? Trials. I don't remember.
I mean, it's a good game. I also want that to be known. Like, he plays this game a lot. It is a good game. I love Trial. This one is a little over the top and sort of out there, but I think at its core, it's a really solid.
Unlike the
iteration of
the
it.
normal grounded entries in the series.
I know. We're with only 5 exploding barrels per motorcycle track. But I was able to find out that I could, in fact, use these blue acorns to just spam through unlocking a bunch of levels. So now
so
he's
you
got, like,
encourage it.
Yeah, so now I celebrate the move, and he's unlocked like I want to say 60 new tracks. So I'm stoked. I'm happy for him. I'm glad we got our blue acorns money's worth,
Yeah.
and
you encourage
shit.
it, and we're like, look at all the actual benefits this gets.
I just wish I could watch him do it. I wish I could just watch him be like, like just going nuts all the way through, just being like, yeah, and then eventually he just winds up, seeing some sort of confirmation.
You need to, like, if you see that confirmation email come through, you have to run out of this room, go downstairs, and then push the video capture button to record the last, 10 minutes of him on the machine, and then go play it back. Have you not had a talk with him? See what you did? You did. It's coming out of your allowance. You see,
You little jerk.
You know how many teeth you're going to have to lose to pay this off? I had a talk with my kids about gotcha games and games that are made to make you put your credit card in, and because they have friends now that are like, I want to play this game. And we're like, that game is made to just bilk people out of their money. It's a garbage game. I get you good games. Never mention that again.
Right. I mean, so at some point, everyone has to have the talk.
Yes.
And I had the talk with my son, and he was sort of just like, yeah, I get it. I don't want to buy stuff. I get it. The problem though is that I don't, and again, I don't want to make it sound like I think this Trials game is like a slot machine game that does that. It's not. But what I do think is tough for him is there's weird shoulder button navigations that bring him to the map, to the race map that he wants to be, the world map that lets you pick, the regional sort of races and whatnot. And I think for whatever reason, his brain's just like, nah. And they do maybe perhaps make it
too easy.
Again, it's probably like a dozen button pushes, but yeah, it was enough where he was just like, I can just continue to hit the same button and wind up spending $25.
You would just appreciate it if they challenged him a little more before just accepting that credit card info.
Totally. Maybe like some sort of, I don't know. Maybe, look, and I know you can set up like 2FA, I think, on things.
Well,
so
you gotta
again, this is on me.
Give him his own account on there and then say it's a kid account.
I know. Maybe I'll have to call you up for some life advice and figure it out. Okay.
I'll tell you right now. Just make it on his own account.
I'm being sincere. I just haven't.
Sony's parental controls are probably the best, actually. Honest to goodness, I think Microsoft's are a little funky because to make an account for them, you need to have an email address and a Microsoft like at Hotmail address or whatever they want for their email stuff. That's too much for a kid thing. And then to nest it underneath a parental one, it's kind of a pain. Nintendo makes you go to their website and do a bunch of stuff for the kid stuff. I found that to be kind of a pain. And then their parental controls are kind of garbage. But Sony's are actually very good. So good on you, Sony. You just make an account, go in there and say, this is a kid account, and then they don't get online.
Here's the thing, though, too. I'm sorry, Abby, 1 second. All of his saves and stuff are in my thing. So I feel like I'm going to
lose that progress.
Yeah, and I can't do that for Trials. That would destroy him.
Yeah,
so
that'd be a bummer. Just buy him the 100 acorns.
Yeah, between that, Rocket League, and all the other progress we're making. Yeah, I think I just need to maybe tighten up the purchasing. There's got to be some sort of purchase, sort of thing that I can do. So yeah, let's do that.
I saw somebody in the chat say you can't prevent access to the store. You can absolutely just not have an email address tied to their Sony account. So you can't get into the store.
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Again, it has to do with like making the one of them the primary and then nested under there, somehow allow him to get on and me to get on and us to live in harmony.
You can live in harmony. What else, Jeff?
So I have embarked on my Valve Index journey.
Oh.
I was told it is a nightmare to set up. I reject that. I was set up in 7 minutes.
Nice.
Rocking and rolling. I haven't started any of like the hardcore games. I'm obviously going to play Alex, but the first thing I did was pop into the lab, which is like the Valve made sort of sandboxy thing. And even, I mean, I know there's always like a huge honeymoon, moment in VR, but man, it's pretty great. It just like the last thing that I had used was, I think, maybe the first iteration of the Vive, and it's such a noticeable difference, especially with like refresh rate and smoothness. And there's still a few things I have to really wrap my head around. Well, don't make that joke, but like really like figure out. I get glasses. Like I wear glasses.
Yep.
Don't some of them have like focusy things?
They do, and that is kind of working, and I gotta just make sure I'm using all that correctly. But overall, it's pretty badass. I interrupted you before, Abby. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I feel like that ship has sailed. It's okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Yeah. So it's really kind of amazing. Even the little mini games they have in that lab thing are just real impressive. Tech demo-y stuff, and I'm really digging it.
If you don't mind my asking, what kind of machine are you running it all
on? It's a laptop that has a 2070 in it.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And it's been fine so far, at least in the test stuff you've done?
It's been fine. I haven't seen. I mean, there's been a little. I think I maybe need to mount the sort of sensor boxes a little better, but. With the very rare, sort of desyncing of one of the controllers, but it's been super rare. It's mostly been a really painless process. The fact that you can really draw out your boundary while you're setting it up, it's just such a smart way to prevent you from walking into your pinball machine.
Yeah.
So.
Or smashing your hand on something. I mean, it always works.
Smashing your hand on something. There is a wild thing I did to Stacy when she was playing it. In the lab, there's like this little robotic dog in it that you can go down and pet and do all that fun stuff. So I'm watching her. I'm like, oh, Stacey, you got to try this, VR thing. So she's playing it, and while she's playing it, I'm like, oh, go to the dog. There's a dog there. Go play with the dog. So she runs up to the dog, and then I took Marty and put Marty on the floor in front of her, and she lost her fucking
Wait,
mind.
I mean, you should explain. You should explain that's your wife, and then Marty's your father-in-law. So, like, that's
right. And he was not happy.
Vinny's bad.
Your mind went to a real bad place.
I was just goofing like a pet, like a cartoon.
His belly.
No.
No, but like it and again, like also just from like the experience, right, of like what it is to use the thing. The headset's a little heavy, but like there's just one wire. And I was always used to like the Predator style headset situation where you had like 19 dongles out of the back of your head. They've got these really impressive quality stereo speakers that sort of just angle down over your ears. They're not buds. They don't have to like sit on in your ears or anything like that. The sound is really good. It's good. It's super fucking expensive, and who the hell buys one of these things?
But, you need like a whole room for it. I would love one, but it seems like so much work for something I'd use 4 times a year. Yeah,
that's the thing. Fortunately, I have a nice square-ish space for this thing that I'm using in, and it's basically like an 8x6, rectangle that I'm able to sort of use it in. So that's obviously really helping the overall experience.
And you did not buy. This is all the CNET stuff.
This
right?
is a loaner. Yeah, this is on loan, and it's our offices.
Sweet.
We have a couple of them. Yeah.
Anything else, Jeff? Before we move on.
Let me see. I think that is all. Let's get into the next
Actually,
thing.
before we move out, I just have one quick question for Jeff while I'm here. I figured to do this on the show. I got to get a new chair. I got to do it. This chair is killing me inside and outside and everywhere else.
Just put oil on it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a sound issue. It's a my spine is crinkling up kind of issue.
Okay.
So you have a chair that you said you liked. What is a chair I should get for me to not hurt anymore?
Well, I don't have a ton of experience with a wide variety of chairs.
I don't need a variety. Just tell me a good chair.
So the one I got because I enjoyed the one I had in the office.
Okay.
This is a Secret Lab Titan. It's expensive, but this is an older model that was I think temporarily discounted. I don't even know if there's any of them in stock anymore, but
there probably isn't. But I just need to put an order in somewhere.
I think the new ones are a little pricey, but
how much? What's the range?
I want to say it's like $350.
That's expensive. You can buy.
That is actually as high as I thought it would be.
Yeah, but you get spine versus ray tracing. I mean, you could basically. I mean, what's more important?
I've already got an RTX card here.
Oh, that's
there
true.
Is nice. There is a. I'm looking at the site right now. The Titan is $399.
Holy gracious!
It's free shipping.
Mm-hmm.
For $400, that chair should come with a person whose lap you sit on. That is expensive.
I'll tell you
what.
Not
in this fucking outbreak, it shouldn't.
That's right,
I will say this. This chair. I will say this. I've only had an experience with a couple others. There was one. Don't get. I can't even remember the brand of this, but it's in my basement right now because I can't get rid of it. No one will take it. Someone sent me a chair, and I was like, "Oh, sure." They were like, "Can you give us your thoughts on this chair?" And I gave them my thoughts, and it's in the basement.
Was it punished? What?
Yeah, it's punished. It's not allowed up till it knows what it did wrong.
Wow.
It was like sitting on. Like someone fashioning like a chain link fence into some sort of like, it was awful.
The Iron Throne, is
God.
it literally just made of swords?
It was also falling apart. I mean, how the hell was this a real chair? Anyway, this thing, it's so goddamn comfortable. Look, again, very little experience with the wide gamut of stuff. But I know when we used to be in an office, Joey, our lab, the guy who runs our computer lab.
Oh yeah, old Joey Labs.
Yeah, Joey Labs. You loved the main gear chair that he had. He was a big fan of that one. I know they just got into the chair making game, and I don't think that is as expensive as the one I'm sitting on right now.
What about chairs that aren't just gamer chairs? Are there chairs?
There are none.
Do they exist anymore?
I also have this really nice pillow behind. I mean, it's just
ass pillow.
It's a cool ass pillow.
That actually seems like the thing I need. I just need the lower back pillow.
I mean,
what are you rocking now, Vinny?
Boy, my chair is
just an Apple box.
No, mine is like an old Staples. Let's see. I'll wheel back a little bit, and you can maybe see it. Look at this.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, Vinny, what happened?
Yeah,
Where is it?
What's old?
Why are you in a jump
It's
seat?
just old.
It's so small.
This is a thing for your lower back that you can sit on that I had to put on the chair.
Tractor seat.
Yeah,
that looks like a chair you would find in the middle of fucking Pripyat, man. Like that shit. It looks like it's just been sitting there being reclaimed by nature for 30 years.
If you look, so people who are listening, my chair looks amazing. It's weathered leather. It's
it is shockingly small. It makes no sense how small it is.
It's well, maybe I just got bigger. Okay, listen. Who am I to say? If you look to the right, there's a Ferris wheel with moss on it next to me. Yes, this is a very. It's an old chair.
There are wolves walking through the background.
It is usually I get rid of a chair when the piston can no longer support weight. Like when it's slowly just the piston in the chair.
When you're just slowly lowering down. Yeah,
like you start off at a good height. Yeah, and then by an hour later, your knees are in your mouth. But this one has not done that yet, so it's been okay. But I need to get a new chair at some point too. I just don't. I'm in the basement. I don't want anything that nice because there's humid down here. We've all heard about my awesome basement stories. It's gonna be covered in spiders.
Last week.
I don't want anything really fabric down here at all.
So this one's leather, and it's nice. It's nice and cool.
Oh, that sounds good.
And the thing I like about this one is it's not it's not like as tacky as it very well could be.
Yeah, I would just say
hey, relax here, Mrs. Squeaky. I mean,
look, it's quiet. I got a fake Herman Miller chair, and it's beautiful.
Wonderful. You look like you're about to do somebody's taxes in that thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jeff, your chair doesn't look like a Mad Catz controller from 2006. So I feel like it's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's like subtle with the red stitching. So yeah, I'm a fan of that subtleness. But
all right,
yeah, again, this is expensive, but honestly, it's been worth it, especially in the last 3 months where
money
this has become
is no object as long as my butt no longer hurts.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I sit on this thing for many hours a day. I play Warzone in it for hours on end. It's all right.
Okay.
My chair is honestly very comfortable. Granted, I have pretty good posture, but you should do what I did, which is go into Times Square and find an office building that's just throwing chairs away.
Yes.
Ask one of the construction workers if you can have it, and then he says, "I won't tell if you don't," and then you take it on the subway.
Oh my gosh, Abby, there was a time, it was probably around 2002, where you couldn't walk down the streets without tripping over an Aeron chair, those Herman Miller, Aeron, whatever things. Because all the startups that were liquidating were just trying to, people were just, instead of cars, just driving down the streets in those. It was ridiculous.
Bubble chairs.
Yeah,
I honestly have no idea if it's a real Herman Miller chair or not. I should look into that.
There's apparently a Herman Miller gaming chair that they're working on that's coming out at some point.
I need that chair.
It has not released yet, and I don't think they've even shown it yet, but they announced it a while ago.
Oh my god, I want that chair so bad. I don't see it online. Oh wait, gaming, Herman Miller and Logitech G. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
All right, let's move on from chair talk.
No. This is some hot chair talk. I wanted so badly a stressless chair. You ever sit in one of those?
No, what's that?
Stressless chair?
Woo! Oh boy, a stressless chair. It's expensive insanity.
Oh, those are so nice.
But they are so freaking comfortable.
What is it?
One of Stacy's uncles had 3 of these in their house. It's just a very plush leather.
It's like the classic 60s Eames looking chair, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just Googled it. Yeah.
And half of them come with ottomans, and they're just so.
Wait, is it not for a desk?
They do make office stuff,
Oh, really?
but I wanted this to just strictly go in the middle of my office to play games in with the
Not
TV.
to get too conspiratorial here, but I just typed in the word stress into my Google bar, and the first search result that came up was Stressless Chair.
Oh,
Yeah, that seems fair though.
Yeah.
That's not the first thing that should show up in your search bar when you put stress into that.
No.
They're listening.
Somebody's
man.
listening.
They're listening.
Send me all the money, Google. Send me chairs.
They're fans of the pod.
Google, here's my home address. Oh, you know it already. I do need other chairs. I don't know what to do about chairs. Making chairs is tough. Did you know that? Making chairs is hard.
No, you only need 5 wood, 1 iron nugget, and then you can make a whole bunch of them.
Folks, we're going to be back with some news in a little bit here. We talked. Jeff Backler talked some game about a game called Moving Out, which I want to go try out. Some Streets of Rage 4, some PGA Tour 2K21, which is apparently in the works. Abby, some Animal Crossing, a new Sims expansion coming out. Reuse, recycle, replace. Replace? No, reuse, recycle, recycle.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
There it is. That's the one. Just Dance 2020. Alex, you played a little more Chimera Squad, and I played some Division 2, the New York stuff, and complained about Animal Crossing. So we'll be back in a little bit. We're going to take a quick break here, a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and we'll come back and talk about some news, some of that Xbox press conference. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Let me cue up this music I forgot about, and hang tight. And we are back, folks. Hello. Hi, everybody.
You're probably muted, right?
No, I hope not, because I changed some things in OBS to make it so that that doesn't happen. So
good for
Good work, Vinny.
Thanks. That's what I always say. Fool me once, my problem. Solve it. I did it.
Check the hook. What my DJ revolves it?
All right, let's get started with the news here. I say that now. That's my thing. Let's get started with the news, because this morning, first of all, before we get started with this morning's news, I'd like to thank my wife, who took over watching the kids' duty.
What?
She had to do the schoolwork. So basically, she lost most of her work morning and now has to work at night tonight. While I got to watch with you, Alex, and Abby, this amazing Xbox adventure as they show. Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's right. No, you're right.
Microsoft build this as, hey, see some Valhalla gameplay, see some new gameplay from the Xbox Series X. I think that was at the least a gross misstatement, and at the worst, that was just outright lie. That did
not there
at
all.
I am very disappointed in the messaging.
Yes.
That was preceded this. Yes.
That was not cool. That was kind of not cool. They could have just not said that, and it would have been fine. Like, I don't think people would have been as bummed out, because I was actually very much looking forward to seeing somebody play Microsoft or Ubisoft's next Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I did not see that today. So we watched the Xbox event this morning at, what time was it for us? 10:30-ish, I think. 10:30-ish.
I think it started at 11.
11. They showed some stuff. Alex, what did they show?
So they said right out of the gate, this is going to be all third party. It is not. There's no Halo here. There are no other Microsoft Game Studios games here. That stuff will be coming, I guess, in like July, is what they're saying. So this was third party, and a lot of that third party was stuff that I would say definitely did not fall in the realm of shit that came from major publishers. It was a lot of stuff that a lot of these were games that were announced or were known of in one way or another. Some were not, but others had been kicking around, like, early Steam trailers and whatnot for a while. So they showed, a mix of things. Like, there's the game that apparently looks like H.R. Geiger fucked it, Scorn.
Scorn.
That game was icky.
very icky, and we still don't know what the fuck it is other than it's a horror game, and boy, we love H.R. Geiger.
None of it made sense. What was it? There was fully just a dick in a wall. It was just a dick in a wall.
The dick wall
there
was
was like no pretense that it was something else. There were two like alien statue things fully going to town on each other.
But here's the thing, the dick wall is maybe the thing that actually stood out most, which sort of tells you where this shit was going. There was a look at, what was it, Bright something? Bright, it's that
Bright
game
Memory Infinite.
That's the one, which is, there's an episode of Bright Memory out on Steam. It was made by more or less one person, and I'm pretty sure that game got at least accused of stealing assets at one point. I don't know if they're still doing that or not.
Fair. I think we have an unfinished or something, or a quick look on the site if you want to check that out.
Yeah. Featuring Dan.
There's a new game from Bloober Team, The Medium, which is a horror game set in Poland. There was the new Dirt 5 from Codemasters. I'm trying to think, like, there was another one, Chorus, which I don't really know what that game is exactly. There was a look at Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Which definitely had a different tone and look than I was expecting, but I don't actually know what I was expecting.
Well, again, they weren't really showing. They may have showed stuff that was in game scenes, but they did not show gameplay, and that's the stuff.
Not much.
Or I don't show me. I don't know. Maybe
it looked like
maybe Chorus had some
of
gameplay, but
I think Vampire. There were a couple of clips in there that looked like there was like some parkour-y stuff that looked like it could have been in game. But yeah, like a lot of it was just like, here's some very story / atmosphere heavy trailers, with the exception of like Dirt, which is, hey, check out these cars.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we have to, and if you're writing headlines for your news site, we have to have a distinction between this is in-game and this is gameplay, because I think that is extremely misleading for people. I've already clicked this morning through about 3 articles that say, check out all the gameplay from the thing, and their in-game cutscenes or in-engine cutscene is not gameplay, right? Am I wrong?
These are not demos.
No, I don't understand why we have to like go back into this infuriating sort of like deception thing. Yeah. Right? Like, this is the thing. I mean, personally, I hold grudges with stuff like this. I mean, there's obviously like one glaring example from E3's past of like a thing like this happening, but it is infuriating to me that like, because of those disclaimers, that then there's like this fallout of like having to do damage control of like, oh, well, no, this is what we expect it to look like. I just, the deliberate, and it is deliberate, the deliberate like means to confuse and sort of deceive it's just, what
silly.
Are we doing?
It's silly, and it's completely avoidable. People are smart enough to get all you have to do is just say, check out some new games, right? And then you just don't use that word gameplay. And the biggest offender there, Alex, being the Assassin's Creed big kind of lead up to this gameplay reveal.
It's unbelievable.
That wound up being a cut together stitch of, again, in probably in engine. I think they say in engine scenes, but it's all, none of it's like in third person. None of it looks like somebody's controlling. Maybe they are, but it doesn't look like it. They all look like they're in engine cutscenes.
Yeah, it looks like there's a couple of shots in it where, like, it might be behind the character's back while he's walking to something or doing something, but it's not like there's like, it's not a mission. They're not showing like moment to moment stuff happening in that game. It is a series of cuts. It is a 1.5-minute trailer that is not radically different. Right? It's radically different in that it's a lot less useful and informative than that first thing they put out the week before. And, I'm not going to throw all of this at Microsoft. It feels like Ubisoft, either they didn't deliver something or someone at Ubisoft decided to build this as gameplay and they just had to go with it. Because literally the press release I got in my inbox right after that thing was over was like, check out this Assassin's Creed Valhalla first look at gameplay trailer. And it's like, Microsoft's not telling you to say that. You're saying that. And that's not right. This isn't right.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
There shouldn't be confusion with those words. I guess what bums me out and why kind of sticks in my craw a little bit is like I really did want to see what the gameplay is going to be in Valhalla, as someone who is is assuming this is going to be like Origins and didn't love Origins gameplay necessarily in the Assassin's Creed milieu, right? Like Origins is fine, but as far as my Assassin's Creed games go, curious to see what the action bent is going to be, which I assume is going to be very action focused for this thing. But I just wanted to see that. I kind of want to see how they were going to handle weapons and upgrades and loot and all of that stuff and just how it plays. So aside from that, I think we're in it now, right? The car is on the road, train is on the tracks. We're barreling down to we talked about this a little bit in our stream if you want to go watch that. The release date of November for this console. So here we go.
Maybe even October. Who knows?
We're trying to get software going. Jeff kind of Gersman, when we were talking in the stream, said that they've been out there. I hadn't heard this, but said that Microsoft has been out there kind of saying we're going to hit our launch, our delivery dates this year. So let's get this stuff going. And then Microsoft explicitly in this said, hey, tune back in July for first party stuff and Microsoft Game Studios. And that's where we'll probably see the Halo stuff. So, I thought underwhelming. Not to talk, poo poo. Sorry, guys. About the third party stuff that's going on. I just I don't know, how do I phrase this? It's stuff looks good. Games look good now. Games look very good. Pushing pixels, stuff looks very good. I'm not sure what is going to get me to be salivating for a new console. Some of the features they have said in previous things have me very excited about a new console. Some of the multiple suspend points and the way the system's going to run. I think just the good-looking trailers, and even if they're in-engine stuff, is not getting me that excited for the console. Especially,
we talked about we talked about this last week, right? We were saying, hey, wouldn't it be great to see something other than trailers and shiny graphics? Or at least maybe that's coming, right? Because they're planning on doing these 2020 things every month, I think,
except for next month, apparently.
With the next one being the big July.
Right. So and they seemed like they were leaning into this whole smart delivery thing, which I think is just a needless term.
What do you want, cross platform? What do you want to that's already used? What do you want to say? Cross gen?
No,
it's just coming up with a term for a thing that basically is them hedging that a lot of people are not going to buy this hardware right out of the gate.
Yeah,
I think it's a great thing, though. I think that it's a very positive thing. Yeah,
it is, but
it's also not a selling point. I mean, I guess maybe it is, but it's just it's literally them saying, "We know you're not going to buy our console right away, so don't worry, you're not fucked when you buy it later."
Yeah. For them, it is most certainly a selling point. It is without a doubt. I think there probably is value in sort of just putting it out there from the get-go, hey, no matter when you get these games, you're not going to have to buy them again. That right. To me, their value is there, where you don't have to buy games cross-generationally again, right? Okay, fantastic. But also in 2020, forgive me for assuming that should just be a thing, especially if I'm using the same platform universe. Right, yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. I think that term getting thrown around so much, this is a smart delivery game, you guys. Okay, they're putting way more stock into it. And again, I understand why it is good. I understand the peace of mind and just the quality of life thing that it's going to do for people. But there's nothing stopping anyone else from doing this as well. You're right. They should. It's not like an Xbox invention, So I think we need to maybe tread a little lightlier when we come talking about this thing as a major bullet point in what we're seeing.
Well, I think the thing I would point out, I'm with you. The marketing around it is kind of silly. I mean, I don't know.
Relax.
I don't know all the specifics about the actual intelligence of the delivery on the assets you get on the Xbox One versus the assets you get on the Series X in terms of how smart it is. But it is a smart thing for Microsoft to go out and say what I suspect to publishers and say either be exclusive for us because we'll be able to be on the Microsoft platform on Xbox One with the install base already, or be not exclusive but timed exclusive, because your game will be able to be bought from these people who already own an Xbox One, not just people who are potentially going to buy a Series X. So I think as game development gets more expensive, it's smart for the developers, it's smart for the publishers, and it's great for me, who might be like, hey, I don't know about availability of the Series X come October, November, and maybe it'll be hard to get one. Or B, maybe I'm not totally sold yet, but I do want to play these games. This is great, and I would love to see what it looks like better on the system. So
right, and I guess from their point of view, if they could somehow ease the discomfort of shoehorning into merging into a new console generation by having this be a thing, right? Where you're like, oh, I don't want to miss out on this. I don't want to. Okay. I just think smart delivery is such an overstated thing of what it really is, but that's fine. I don't know. For me, it's like you're adding this other, little box to tick, right? In is it enhanced? Is it this? Is it that? And now for me, look, there's people who are going to say, "Oh, well, that game's not smart delivery." Oh, well, fuck that.
Well, I mean, we do have this other thing here about EA being like, nah, we're not all.
Yeah,
in
they
on
said
the
Madden. They're like, Madden's not going to be that, but we'll give it to you for free. And now everyone's back to being frustrated and confused again. So, what are we doing?
So, EA,
is there a more modern EA move than this? Honestly, my God.
So EA went out and said, hey, we're not going to do this for Madden, but you will get, if you buy it before, December, the end of December? Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Then you'll get a free upgrade for the console stuff, or the next console. So,
what's this really fucking layup toss, real nice, cool move that could get people on our side to just to support this? Let's not do that. That we're EA. We're going to just not do this thing that any, seemingly any sane publisher would just be like, yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, sports games don't age well. Whatever, I don't know. It doesn't seem cool.
So
Madden doesn't age well a month after it comes out at this point. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Obviously, the strategy from Sony so far has been a bit bewildering. And now this is, where it's like, I don't think they're as competitive as maybe they were 4 years ago, right? In terms of what exactly they're going for, because it seems like now Microsoft is saying, hey, as long as you play this on Windows or Xbox, we win, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. So whereas Sony has to basically worry about, we just need you to play this on our console. Right. I find that emerging, sort of, the dichotomy of that competition. I think that's much more interesting than, what we're kind of being presented with from the get-go.
Well, on top of that, Microsoft has very much gone all in on we exist as a service. We exist, Game Pass, everything every move they have made in recent years seems geared toward billing themselves as a service that you subscribe to. This is where you get your games. This is how you play your games. The ecosystem matters, but at the same time, the main thing they want is for you to get those, those rebills, those annual fees.
Yeah.
And Sony hasn't really developed that at the same level. They've had things like PlayStation Now and all that stuff, but they haven't really fermented themselves as a games as service, provider the way that maybe Microsoft seems to have gone all in on. And I think that's kind of showing a little bit in the approach here. Sony seems very into the nitty gritty of the hardware that they are making and trying to figure out how to explain that to people in a way that isn't just Mark Cerny staring at charts and not getting there yet. Whereas Microsoft's just yep, I don't know, the hardware's good. Here's these games. Granted, they're maybe not the games you really want to see right now, but here's these games. We're just doing more games. Here's more games. Red Dead on Game Pass now. Get it.
Yeah, I mean, the money's coming from, a lot of the money comes from DLC purchases on a platform and cosmetic goods on a platform. And so it doesn't matter. You give the game away for free as long as you're playing it on the platform so people can spend Fortnite bucks, but through the Microsoft store or wherever it is. Microsoft gets it. I think Sony gets it as well. I think we'll see. Microsoft as a service, they seem to be really pushing that. You're right. And Game Pass has been a fantastic thing for people who like playing video games. And
Yeah.
I think in that department, Sony has a lot of catching up to do. It seems like spec-wise, on the horsepower of the console, Microsoft, on paper, looks like they have a very, not a lead, but a very powerful machine. And I think there's more to be said about what Sony's doing. Sony kind of gets lost in the mud a little bit on some of the what the specs are here and how mapping your ear is going to be the next gen stuff and, all of that. We'll see. In the end, it's like, do you have great games? Is Halo going to be really good? What am I going to be playing on here? And at this point, actually, the thing is, that fucking Game Pass is it's still going to be awesome because whenever we talk about a game and I hear it's on Game Pass, it's like a little angel smiles, right? It's like, oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love hearing. But... Well, I love being able to test stuff out. That is on Game 100%. Pass.
Yeah.
I also think it is definitely making me as someone who, for the most part, will opt for the PC version of a game first, depending, and I think you're kind of the same way, right, Vinny?
Yeah.
That it gives me just kind of like a different set of, a different look at do I even need to buy one of these? And I think right now the answer is no, I don't. But
yeah.
Well, I'll say as someone who is more of a I want to play on my couch than I want to play on my PC person, I have a decent PC and everything, but I grew up a console gamer. I will die a console gamer. And I just, I want to use my TV and I want to use my couch. And even I, someone who should be the most absolutely on these consoles no matter what, which I will be because of my job. But if it wasn't for my job at this point, I'm not convinced at all. There's nothing remarkably convincing about this hardware and the lineups that they have shown thus far that say I need to run right out and buy one of these at launch.
I mean, as someone who is new to this industry, I think this will be my first major console launch within the industry. I don't think I've ever had a console where I was like, I got to get this day one. Maybe the Nintendo DS, I think was one of the few that I did that for. But I feel like for everything else, there's always an expectation of I'm going to wait a year until I buy this console anyway, because there's not going to be enough games. My current console is fine. It will probably be released. The games will be released on both. I feel like there's always that transitional period anyway. So
that's what the smart gamer does. That's right. The smart approach.
That's the smart consumer.
Gamer. I am a dumbass, and I like buying hardware when it's new. Again, not just because of my profession, but because it's new exciting shit. I like new exciting shit. I'm just not excited. And some of that, I think, is owed to the current situation and the fact that they are limited in how they can present this stuff, how they can lay it out for people, where they can get press together and actually, show them the nitty gritty of this stuff. It's been limited. I get it. And, that is definitely hindering things a little bit. But just neither of them, I feel has made the case yet. The case for jumping on this hardware right out of the gate, it just has not been made by either company.
And we'll see where the prices land, hopefully, in a couple of months here. And so we'll get more stuff on Microsoft in the coming months. It sounds like in the summer, around July, we'll get that first party stuff, which I'm curious to see what they're going to do there. And I guarantee Sony will have some responses to this. And we're not the only ones who are thinking, what is Sony up to with all of this? Mm-hmm. So the people want to know. Alex, what else is going on in the news?
Let's see. Well, so Mortal Kombat 11, a fine game, one of the best games of last year, is getting a giant content upgrade here in the near future. They are adding new story DLC, which picks up from the events of the main story mode in Mortal Kombat 11, and is very Shang Tsung focused. Apparently, he is a big fat. I think he's the main protagonist or at least main character in this new story mode. So we got and they will
go ahead.
I was gonna say it will also add some new characters like Fujin and Shiva are coming to the game, and RoboCop.
Of course, yes.
Who is not in the story mode, I don't think, but he is DLC, I think.
Their little teaser for it makes me laugh. It is also one of a pet peeve of mine because it basically shows the end and this is going to be some spoilers for Mortal Kombat, so bear with me. But it basically shows the last cutscene where something amazing's happening. It's the start of a whole new world in Mortal Kombat, and it kind of imagine like the end of a movie, the big pullout of like, wow, that's a really wild way to end it. They're going to reset everything, and then basically start showing that, and it's like record scratch as that's about to happen, and then they all turn around and be like, but wait, and they're like, stop, don't reset everything just yet. We've got more game for you, and it's a little like commit to the bit or don't, and they clearly are like, wait a second. So I don't know. I'm excited to see more of where that goes, but it's very Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I mean, who knows where it'll end up, but I like that they're following up on the story and they're adding more story content, because I do think that is kind of where the meat of that game was for me. I never really got too much into doing the tower stuff. I don't play online a lot, but the story stuff definitely grabbed me. So yeah. I'm excited to see more of that. 2 quick RoboCop details. 1, that is Peter Weller doing the voice, which I think is great. Second of all, are we going to find out that the RoboCop in canon in Mortal Kombat is actually just Stryker? They just made Stryker a cyborg. That'd
be cool. I'd be like, there's a skin for RoboCop that's just Stryker.
And now Peter Weller is just playing Stryker.
This is all how it was meant to be.
That's how it should be.
What else, Alex?
Speaking of fighting games, again, we all probably saw this coming. Evo has officially canceled its on-site event that will not be taking place this year in Las Vegas as per normal. They are talking about doing a digital event. I don't know what that will entail. That's going to, I feel like if they actually just go forward with Evo but online, literally every win is just going to have an asterisk next to it for the rest of time, because you know how fighting game fans are with their netcode and their complaints about lag. So we'll see how that goes. But, I mean, ultimately, this was the only decision to make, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think so. I don't know, yeah. People. Apparently, I'm not always in the right. What else, Alex?
So you know how we've all been playing Animal Crossing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, we've all been playing Animal Crossing. Nintendo says that in the first 6 weeks of New Horizon, they have sold 13.41 million copies.
Wow.
It is the best ever start for any Nintendo Switch game.
Wow.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
That is
I'm not surprised at all, though. I know so many people who don't play games who are playing Animal Crossing, who got a Switch to play Animal Crossing. Like, I'm not surprised. It also came out at the perfect time. It was like a week after quarantine. Like, this is not at all surprising to me.
It's funny you mentioned that, because apparently the vast majority of those sales, 11.77 million of them, came in the first 11 days.
Yes.
Yes, I also know multiple people who bought a second Switch for their house, which maybe it's because they want to all play Animal Crossing at the same time, or maybe it's because that freaking design of that game makes you have to buy another Switch if you want to have your own island. Insidious. Nintendo, get your head out of your ass. Like, what do you do? Nintendo, make me the island representative. That's if you listen to Nintendo.
Hey, just buy a Switch. Just buy another Switch.
I don't have to start the island all over. So silly.
Yeah.
So silly. It's very silly. It's also very Nintendo. Well, congratulations, Tom Nook. Alex, 2K? Oh, this is our golf business.
Did you hear that 2K is getting into the golf business?
What?
I've never heard this before, ever.
I'm sorry.
A PGA Tour 2K21 from the makers of the golf club. This is news that is happening.
Tell me all about it.
I hear Jeff loves the golf club.
I hear that too.
I like golf. Golf's fun.
I also like golf.
It's impossible, but it's fun.
What's your favorite club?
Now there's a 2K golf game.
What's your favorite club?
What's your favorite club?
I like the 7 iron.
What a fucking dumbass question that is.
I love that question.
I'm kind
Sandwich!
I like a putter.
What's your favorite club?
Like a challenge.
Hey, you like the bowl? Which pin's your favorite pin?
the four
billiard ball's your favorite.
I think there's something to like a wood or an iron, like hay, or like, I don't know anything about golf.
I'm just messing around with you, dude.
So what's your favorite club?
Man, favorite club. You're gonna put me on the spot like that. Oh man,
I'm a titliest.
Driver, baby. Get that driver out.
Okay.
Drivers are too hard.
A driver club.
Chip it.
I like you. You're a chipper. You're a chipper.
Yeah. I mean, I used to go to the driving range with my dad like every weekend, but Not anymore.
Gotta have a good short game.
Golf seems something that it would be tough on the shoulders. Is it tough on the shoulder? Like rotator cuff-ish?
It's not great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
golf's the only game that I can reliably play when I'm injured.
Okay. I mean, it does have a cart, right? Where you just get
like if you really look, I'm gonna take some shit for this, but I don't know, man. Whenever I play golf, I either wind up being stoned and or drunk by the end of it. So
why would you take shit for that?
Whatever you want to do when you play golf. Golf is that kind of game, and bowling for that matter too. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, listen. Bowling I feel like is just a vehicle for getting drunk or hanging out, or a kid's birthday party.
Yeah, it's a beer vessel for sure. But I mean, golf. Come on, like you're playing in the summertime with friends. I feel like 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to wind up happening.
I've been golfing twice. That's it.
I don't have friends.
Are you passing happy? Did you start a story?
I was going to ask Jeff a very specific friend about his experiences with golfing, but I don't know if it'll go over on the podcast.
Okay,
I have a friend.
Then do it.
Okay. I have a friend who is a white man who golfs a lot. He loves golf. And he goes to like clubs to golf. And sometimes at these clubs, they'll like pair him up with like other people. But he says that like sometimes like people will say like crazy racist shit at him. Do you have similar experiences when you go golfing at like these country clubs?
Well, first of all, I don't go golfing at any country clubs.
Okay.
Jeff, when you go to
that's probably the first wrong step they made.
Jeff, when you go to your country club, what happened?
A big golfer.
Got like Bushwood or some shit. Like, when I go to vast majority is playing at public courses with an already predefined twosome or foursome that you don't have to worry about getting paired up with randos.
Well, because it's like you got the caddy, and then it's like you need like 4 to a caddy or whatever. So it's like, just throwing this like dad and his son, and then like my friend Justin is like, "Why are you saying this wild shit to me?"
You hold your bag. Or you wheel your bag.
But the caddies are not just for holding your bags. It's also for like, you see the way the grass is lying. You see like this is
these greens are playing fast, that kind of thing.
I've seen Caddyshack. I know what caddies do.
No, but like that is some country club ass shit right there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it makes me wonder. It's just wild.
Right, and along with you pay for the racism. That's part of the.
You're paying to go there so you can be racist among other racists.
Totally.
It's just like.
That's
he says that
$145,000 a year to belong to these places.
What's wild to me, though, I don't know. He like talks about it. It's just like they're just like so openly racist and sexist in a way that's like we're alone now. Like we're all thinking this, right? Which I just find wild.
Look, no one is joining Mar-a-Lago because they're tolerant people.
Exactly.
What's your favorite? Right. What's your favorite club? Casual racism. I like to take it out on the.
Well,
you don't want to know what I call my putter.
A good dude, as far as I know.
I don't know. It sounds like he's got to go to a different club.
He's also not rich. Well, he does. I think he does actually work in finance, but he hates.
Well, there you go.
I mean, you're look, I'm not saying all country clubs are racist. They can't be, right? They can't be.
I'm doing the math in my head. I don't know. Maybe.
It's just like, there's one around the corner from my house. I refuse to believe it's like that. But yeah, like, you play at a public course. That's what most people do, I think, with their friends or family or,
I feel that I played golf twice. I don't think any of them were on a golf course. They were probably in somebody's I don't know.
Well, who's on a tennis court?
Yeah. You weren't playing. Might have been. The only other times I've been on golf courses are sneaking kegs on and running off of them when the cops show up. So that's my golf experience.
That's some Happy Gilmore shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's the suburbs. You gotta drink somewhere. It's either the woods, the train station, or the golf course. So, Alex, what else is going on? Wait, do we have dates for this game? Do we need to know any other information about this?
No.
Okay. What else is going on?
I mean, there might be, but I don't care.
What else?
Let's see. We got a couple of EA things here. Just continuing the EA train. You know how we've talked often about it's kind of weird that they've never tried to remaster the old Mass Effect games or put them out, in a modern console platform kind of way, other than just, the Mass Effect trilogy, or they haven't really done a lot with those old games to make them like new for current platforms, right?
I wouldn't say a lot.
No,
EA has done some stuff, but yes.
Yeah, but not to like maybe the extent that you would think for a game that was like at one point like kind of one of their biggest things.
Mm-hmm.
So this story from VentureBeat is talking about a lot of the EA's upcoming stuff and some of the things they have upcoming. This comes from reporter Jeff Grubb, a friend of the pod. And just kind of at the end of this story, he just drops, and that HD remaster on this list is the Mass Effect trilogy. Just kind of says it, just right there, just says it is. They obviously have not announced this, but that does feel like something they would probably do, right?
Sure.
Didn't they kill it though?
Well, they killed Mass Effect. But they could bring back the shambling corpse of old Mass Effect if they really wanted to, and just kind of gussy it up.
Mass Effect.
What is what is a remastered Mass Effect trilogy, Alex? As someone who's now played 1, 2, and is in the middle of 3.
My guess is they do something similar to what a lot of those texture packs did and just make everything look nicer, and then probably go the extra mile and then maybe make the face animations a little better.
You think they go back into actual code or rigs or models or anything?
That's how I would do it if I wanted to make it good, but it's EA, so you never really know.
I would hope they go into UI stuff for some of those Mass Effect 1 menus and make them better for sorting through your gear, the inventory stuff, run better on some of the tech that was there, make them not the texture pop in be better and all that stuff. They were a little clunky.
Yeah.
I don't even think they add controller support if you're going to remaster these and bring them to the PC, add native controller support there. So I love Mass Effect series. I hope they do right by it, but my faith in EA is shaken.
My only real suggestion here is maybe not a good time to take another crack at that the Mass Effect 3 ending. Just let it be. Just leave it as it is. Just don't need to do anymore. Just don't muck around anymore. Don't get all fucking George Lucas with this shit. Just like you had your chance, you redid it. That's it. That's how that game ends. Let's just go with that.
So just keep the one that's currently there.
Yeah.
I'd see that.
That's what I think.
What do you think this remastered thing you think is next gen stuff?
My guess it would be like everything else that's coming out at early, where it'd be for both the current platforms and the next ones. The one thing they didn't say anything, they said specifically in here is like, don't know about Switch for this yet. So maybe not Switch right away, but that feels like something else that they would kind of have to do somewhere down the road, because the Nintendo Switch, it's very popular. I don't know if you know that.
I'm familiar.
We'll get on that.
All right.
The last thing here is not really news. It's just a thing that I thought was kind of hilarious.
Okay.
So this is coming from Polygon. So the headline here is Skate 3 remake in the works, according to Pro Skater, which I thought, that sounds promising. It's not. Let me just say that right now. Jason Dill, who I believe I think was on the Skate 3 roster, or at least was involved in it in some way. He was on a podcast called The 9 Club, and I'm just going to read you some of the... Yeah, I'm going to read you some of the quotes, just verbatim here from Jason Dill. I got a call from the EA people about 10 months ago, and they said, hey, we want to talk about the Skate game. I said, oh, fine, that's fine. They said, basically, hey, Jason, we want to do a mobile version of Skate 3. And I wrote back, and I said, what else? She wrote back, no, that's it. So the story goes on to reiterate that the studio behind the Skate series does not really exist anymore. Whatever EA is doing with Skate would have to be done with a new studio or other internal teams. And then the rest of the quote goes on to say, so I wrote back, look, no big deal. No one wants your stupid mobile version of Skate 3. Make Skate fucking 4 already. Just do it. Just make the game and just participate again. You can't level it to the same numbers you get on other games. You do it for a cultural thing that pays you back later. And that's how corporations fucking can work if they play their cards right. And she wrote me back and said, basically, no, we're not going to do that. So I wrote her back one final line. So I wrote her back and I said, well, have a lot of luck on Need for Speed 29. I won't be in your stupid mobile game. I think it's fucking dumb.
Oh, jeez.
I thought that is like the most skater dude response to shit like this I could possibly imagine.
Totally.
Here's the
like antagonistic email thread.
I have to as some weird personal investment with skaters and video games over the last 2 decades, let's say. I love that they now play video games enough to know when a mobile game is going to be bullshit and not get roped into it. Versus if this were 15 years ago, they'd be like, I love video games. Check this thing out. I'm not really sure why I'm
great.
here. Yeah, it sounds great.
They paid me. Fuck it.
Yeah. Versus now where somebody's like, don't do this. This is a bad company move. Here, I actually have made some charts for you on how trending. And I love it that people play enough video games now.
But you know what? Tone aside, he's dead right. Like, if you want Skate as a franchise to pay off for you at any point in the future, you got to make a new one, and you can't necessarily expect it to just fucking sell millions of copies right out of the gate. Like, you're doing it to lay the groundwork and establish that you're going to keep making these, and you're going to keep getting some cultural cachet from it. But EA is just extremely not about that shit anymore. Like, at least not these days. They clearly have zero interest in doing anything that is not going to be an either an immediate hit for them, or it's the kind of low-key EA partners indie game thing where they don't have to worry about investing too much in it.
So is the dream dead then for you? This Skate?
The dream has been dead for some time.
Okay. I'll just wait for the Skate 3 remaster or Skate 2 remaster. Skate 1 and 2 remaster. Is that it for the news, Alex?
That's all I found.
Oh, man. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that popped up from the Microsoft stuff, but it doesn't seem like it. What's up, Jeff?
No, we were talking about the Microsoft thing. There's like a couple things that I didn't realize. Maybe did we say that Scorn was an exclusive?
I didn't remember.
I don't remember seeing that, but I also think it's on Steam.
Well, the email that I just got from Mr. Scorn,
from John Scorn,
Jerry Scorn,
says, intensely atmospheric horror title Scorn announced as an Xbox Series X exclusive. Maybe that's a console. I don't know.
So this game, someone just tweeted this at me, but I'd seen this earlier, has been in development in some form or another since 2014. Okay. There is a trailer from as far back as 2017, I think. And I think that it had been floating around, at least there might have been a store page on Steam at one point. I don't know if there still is or not. But yeah, that game has been kicking around for a while.
When did Prometheus come out?
2013?
Okay, that tracks.
Does it remind you 2012. A little bit of like the last level in Contra too?
Contra
as well, not too
weird wet level with the giant heart at the end.
I mean, it would make sense since that is all ripped off of Aliens and Geiger stuff anyway.
So
a lot of
a
lot of rib cages and stretched skin.
Yeah, I wonder really what's going on there.
I don't know. Hopefully you play as like some like really cheery, like fuzzy teddy bear thing. That's like, why am I here? Everything's inside out. Whose nightmare is this?
That's hold out for that.
Doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right. There's a penis. It's oozing. I don't.
Why did they have to show that? Weird, and it drips.
It does. Clap, clap. Let's go. Let's get out of here and go take another break, and we'll be back. Take 5. And we'll be back with some emails. Stay tuned, folks. Emails coming up. All right, and we are back with the Giant Beastcast. We've had some games, we've had news, and now it is time for my kids to have their piano lesson. It is time for emails. If you've got an email, you can send them in to beastcast@giantbomb.com. That is beastcast@giantbomb.com. That is definitely a piano lesson. They do virtual with the iPad for the piano lesson.
Wow, I can't hear it at all. I would like to.
Okay, I can hear it.
Well, we assumed as much.
Beastcast@giantbomb.com. That is beastcast@giantbomb.com. Abby Russell, you've gone through the emails. What do you got?
This first email comes in from Vinny's kid's piano teacher.
I feel bad for him.
We're meeting at 3:30 on Thursday.
Okay. That's tough. Tough doing it by iPad there.
I can only imagine. It's good y'all are keeping it up, though. Okay. Alex, will you please read this one from Daniel?
Oh, why I got to be the one to read this one from Daniel.
Look, Vinny was just talking.
I'm just joking. I got it. All right, here Daniel says, so I'm 31 and I feel shitty because I just found a decent sized bald spot on the crown of my head. And I don't know what, if anything, to do about it. There are a bunch of medications of various levels of bullshit. The least bullshit seems to be finasteride, which I have no idea what that is. Although it would mean I also can't donate blood. Anyway, curious what, if anything, some of you have tried in the past and how you decided on that course. Just speaking personally, when I started to thin out and started getting little balding areas on my head, I looked long and hard at myself in the mirror, one, because I wanted to figure out where the bald spots were, and two, because I wanted to decide if it was a thing I was actually going to try and do anything about or not. And I came to the realization that unless there is a thing that I can do that is literally just take a pill or, use a different shampoo, no, I'm not. I'm just going to let it go because it's not that I don't care. It's that I just don't have the investment in being a behaired man to worry about it. It's just not worth it.
So I think at least back when I paid attention, there were two things. There was Propecia, which was the
That's
pill.
what finasteride is.
Okay, and then Propecia
Why
was
can't you donate blood?
I don't know.
It's a chemical. It's a chemical thing.
All the hair
That
in your
seems
blood.
bad. Don't do that.
And then
so there was one kind of hair treatment I remember I looked into, and it was literally like if you rub it into your head, and then you cannot touch your pets afterward, even if you wash your hands.
That's minoxidil. That's Rogaine.
Yeah.
And you cannot. And women who are pregnant or wish to become pregnant should not go near it, I believe, as well.
It's just like right out of the commercial.
Yeah, they used to advertise that stuff a lot. So I never really. I think I may have tried like over the counter. I think it's minoxidil is the thing in Rogaine, the generic version for like a day, and then read the back of the thing and was like, this is not. No, I'm good. Like whatever. It wasn't worth it. Like I don't want anything that I have to put on my skin that says other people can't touch. Like that's like not worth it for me.
What does it do? Does it actually work though? I always figured these things were like scams.
Well, no.
So here's the thing. There's different kinds of balding, and some are like some of these chemicals work on certain types of pattern baldness. Some don't work at all on other kinds.
What are the types?
It's just different patterns. It's just
ugly, weird.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're talking three. Okay.
Well, my real answer to this is that I think no one cares about you being bald as much as you do, Alex. Right?
I like that statement.
I feel like the only time I'm like, ugh, balding is if somebody clearly has not accepted it and is trying to cover it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the best solution is a toupee. Bring the toupee back.
Okay.
You know what? I would take that over the comb over, the literal worst haircut anyone could possibly have.
My grandpa has been rocking a comb over for like 40 years. And
grandparents are allowed to do that.
Once you're over 60, do what you want. No one's going to judge you. Live your life. Do what you want. But I don't know. Be bald, be powerful.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
I've seen so many people who are bald who just shave it or have a close cut hair, and it's not a thing I've ever thought about twice of like, ugh, bald, you know? Like so many people are bald.
I think
George Costanza did a lot of damage, I think, to the perception of the bald man and the insecurities of the bald man, to the point where we are still trying to recover from it.
Interesting.
This is like obviously a very close to home topic. I'm not very happy.
Says the man wearing a hat.
Says the man wearing the hat. I'm literally covering it.
Aww.
I mean, no, I'm also because I don't take care of myself anymore, so I never shower. So I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's more like every other day now.
Okay.
So, yeah, like I struggle with this a lot. And before the quarantine, I, on a daily basis would struggle with it. And it's accelerated for me personally a lot in the last like 2-3 years, where like I thought when I was 35, I was going to I thought I had like plateaued, and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to ride this out.
you beat the curve.
Yeah. And because I know people that's happened to,
Mm-hmm.
I know people who've had success with Propecia, but there are perhaps weird things associated with that medicine. And I don't know. I know I'm like hurtling towards the shaving, but another thing to consider, and Alex,
Well, your hair's pretty short though.
Say what?
Your hair's pretty short though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can't even talk about it in a way that I like know what to do. Like my wife is like, oh, it's fine. But that's what she's supposed to say.
Well, what I'll say as a lady is I have never, again, unless someone is like really trying to cover it up in a bad way, I've never thought about like, you're bald, it's always just like, you have this hairstyle, you have that hairstyle. You know what I mean? Like I don't think of people as bald. Like, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I also think, that, and that's good to hear, right? That's good to hear. For me personally, I'm not sure what I will look like with a shaved head, and that freaks me out because I don't.
There's only one way to find out.
I know, and I'm not saying I'm there yet. I feel like I can see it.
Here's what I can say to you, Jeff, is that you should not be afraid of the head shave, because what's going to happen with the head shave, shaving your head is not going to prevent the hair that you currently have on your head from growing back. It's not going to make you more bald than you are currently right now.
To shave it too.
That hair will grow back. So if you ever in your life wanted to experiment and try some shit and just see what you look like, there has never been a better time. It is maybe the only silver lining anyone could possibly ever find in what's gone on in the last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
This is it. This is your time, Jeff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeff,
I also think it would like upset my kid too. What's up?
Oh, really? I feel like your hair is not that long. Like I kind of figured you were already like shaving it just with like the big clippers. You know what I mean? The big like number 3 or whatever.
No, I have a barber who doesn't, and the haircut takes 4 seconds.
but doesn't even touch your head.
Just
like cuts the hair, puts the scissors next to your ear, snip. Yeah, we're done, Jeff.
That'll be $30.
Right, that'll be $20.
Never touches the top.
Yeah.
He's like, you can leave your hat on.
Yeah, it's okay, Jeff. Don't worry.
I'm like totally identifying with this person. I hate it. I'm not happy about it. And I realize, and all the things you say are helpful, but for whatever reason, that's always been a thing with me. And because I also love appreciating great hair, like a head of hair that you have, Abby, or like, I don't know, the entire cast of Schitt's Creek. And just like, it just drives me crazy.
You really got Schitt's Creek on the brain today, don't you?
I mean, the Levies have such amazing hair.
Yeah, they do.
I also think, Jeff, you can't compare yourself to someone on TV. Something that I have to remind myself sometimes is like, and I think that men have this in like a different kind of way, but like with women, you see all these like beautiful women on television and everything. And there's this idea of like, wow, should I be looking like that? And then I have to remember like these people have like a team of fucking people who make them look beautiful all the time. There's a team of people who make sure they have every hair follicle never falling out ever. You know what I mean?
And I'm very
they're like gluing
well
that shit
aware,
back in if they have to.
Oh yeah, they're all getting plugs.
Well aware of the insane amount of male celebrities who do not have real hair.
Yes.
I love looking at like before and after.
There's a lot of shit going on. If you really want,
the tech's pretty good though. Some of them look pretty good. I will say, like
some of them look amazing.
Yeah, more power to them.
Yeah.
I have no judgment for people who have the money and the means and want to do that.
Expensive.
Cool, have fun.
Like, oh my god, is it expensive?
I'm not saying that, like, we're unique, because I mean, I think the judging men for their baldness thing has existed for since time immemorial. But we also, this group of gentlemen here on this podcast, all grew up in the simultaneous George Costanza and Hair Club for Men era. Like we were bombarded with a cultural judgment of what it means to be bald and how the society views you, the bald man. And you know what? No. I say no. I say no to hair club. I say no to plugs.
Oh, wow.
I say no to toupees.
Wow.
I say this is my scalp. Accept it.
Wow, good for you.
Yes.
You know, it's more complicated. You know, like my skin is just
not.
like so.
It's not willing to be persuaded.
No, it's just like my skin is also so fucking awful, and I've got these.
You think
things.
mine's good?
No, but at least it's not like you know.
You could have said yes.
No, yours is fine. I've seen your head.
He's like, yeah, no, yours isn't great either, but you know,
Yours is fine. You know, like I've
Don't
got a
bring up your
lot
skin
of.
again.
I'm just fucking with you.
No, I know. It's just there's a lot going on. It sucks. This whole thing sucks, man. But again, there's bigger issues in the world, and this is really just not a this is not a. I guess it's a problem, but it's not like a life.
I had no
or death
idea
thing.
you didn't like your hair.
Well, you know, it's just been tough the last couple of years. But with the hair, the hair thing.
I'll tell you what makes it better,
me,
Jeff, for you.
It clearly is an issue, but yeah.
Having people watch you over the course of time.
Yes.
Go bald. Yeah.
That is true.
And the problem is like, you know, I get all these, you know, you look at photos and videos of yourself from even 3 years ago and even 4 years ago. Like someone sent me one the other day from CS of me hosting, and I'm like, shit, I look all right there, you know, and then you're like,
Mine are still too small, but look at that head of hair.
well, exactly, you know, right? Look, that I can't do anything about. But, you know, and you know, I'm looking around at my desk right now. I got 4 fucking cameras facing me, and I'm just like, God damn, like it is a thing, you know, it is definitely a thing. I don't think we are the stars of a, you know, syndicated television show, but we're not.
If we were, we'd all get plugs and have people looking out for every follicle.
I'd make the show pay for it.
That's right. I think for me, it's definitely something where it doesn't bother me that much. I miss the options. I liked playing with my hair. I liked doing different haircuts, and it's just now I have one option. You know, it's or I have 2 options. I have complete scalp. Or I have a little fuzz. Those are the only 2 options I could really go with. And
you could grow it out.
Yeah, I could grow it out. I can't even really go options. If they came out with a pill that like just magically regrew hair, like I'm fooling nobody. It's not like someday I came in and just like, you know, I decided to grow it out. See what would happen. Who knew it just grow back?
I would love it if that's what you spent the quarantine doing. Is like on the other side of this, in like 6 months, you got a full head of hair.
Just like
Vinny's going to be like. Vinny's going to be like
that.
the 0.5% of people where the hair just grows everywhere, and so he's basically going to come in looking like the fucking Wolfman.
If they had a pill that like just were like it just grows your hair back, I would have no shame. I mean, I feel like people wouldn't, right? Just be like no shame, be like, you know what? This is like the opposite of getting a haircut. Like I have hair now. Like, I'm okay.
I have hair now.
I feel
the
like
way Jason Alexander used to pull that shit, where he would just like show up one day with a full head of hair, and everyone be like, "Hey, what's that?"
I like that a lot.
Or like Ted Danson is just like, you know, just like
Ted. Because look, I feel like what I'm quickly discovering is I kind of have my own personal inventory of every male celebrity's hair situation, where I'm just like, oh no, Ted Danson's pulling it off. Oh yeah, he's figuring it out. My wife wants me to do like the Mike Ness like pomade flattened comb back thing.
I feel like you might see too much scalp. You got to be careful with that.
I know. Plus, Mike Ness. He's a cool dude. He's a real cool dude.
Ooh, I don't think you should do that.
No,
I don't think anyone should do that.
I think that's a dedication to the rockabilly lifestyle that you are not ready for.
That I just don't have the suspenders for. So
yeah.
But I say my 2 cents is you got to live your life. So if whatever makes you the most comfortable, any men or women or anybody who wants to take what is it, finasteride or Propecia or Rogaine. You know, women have thinning hair too. So like I've heard it works as well.
Of course. Consult with your doctor.
Yeah, as long as it's hopefully not harmful for your body.
I think also just remember that everyone's thinking about themselves more than they're thinking about you. So just do what you like and
that's
take
true.
A deep breath. It's okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get through this together.
Yeah, I'm not any further along on this path. I don't. This maybe wasn't helpful.
I didn't realize this was like
It's a thing.
awaken something in you.
No, it's definitely a thing. It's something I think about all the time. Not so much lately because of where we're at, but even like on Zoom calls where I'm just like, oh, that's not great.
Well, because we're the ones that have to live with the ruins of the once great empire. So of course we're fucking staring at and thinking about it all the time.
I wear the hat because my headphone band leaves like little black.
Vinny, you gotta get some new gear down there.
It's a wasteland.
Everything look like it's peeling.
How come everything dies in that basement?
Everything is distressed down here. It's a very intentional look. I make sure everything is, it's a very distressed
You're
look.
going for like the pre-dystopian.
Yeah, that's right. Everything needs to. I'm setting up my own BioShock game down here. Abby, what's the next email?
Okie dokie. Jeff, if you're feeling up to it, can you read this one from Blake, please?
Yeah, I'm feeling up to it. I just still don't know what I should do. All right.
I think, like you said, if we just go back to it for a second, I think Abby brought up a good point.
Can we answer this person's question too?
Yeah, I think so. What have you done?
Help Daniel?
I think since everybody's wearing hats, you could totally just be like, come back into the office at some point in the 2021 and say, I grew it out, guys. What do you think? And we'll be like, I haven't seen it because the hat.
You know what's wild? This has been a huge head shaving moment. Like I know a lot of men that have done it, including you. But yeah,
I shaved my head in high school. It's great. I cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah, it came back.
If it didn't
really
take me like
thick.
5 years to grow it back out, I would fully do it again.
I also feel like shaving your head, it would take 5 years to do it because it seems like your hair is quite thick.
You definitely like at
shaving
least 3.
It was easy.
3 buzzers worth of. You need those those like really wide blades.
There's just like gnarled blades left on the floor afterwards.
The barber is like sweating.
All right. Jeff?
Yes,
Blake.
From Blake says, hey, Beasties, have you ever beaten a game completely ignoring an ability that may otherwise seem critical? For example, I recently beat Nier Automata. How do you say it? Automata?
Whatever.
I always said Automata.
Live the way you want to live.
Yeah, I'm learning that. Without ever using my pod's special attack, and I know someone who beat Crackdown without ever locking onto enemies. That's crazy.
That's from Blake.
I feel like I've definitely discovered something. Oh, I discovered in Fallout 3 what's that system called?
That's.
I learned that like 70% of the way through.
Oh wow!
I love that. I mean,
That's
that's
fucking ridiculous.
Should have used the guide.
I feel like he's never used a guide in his life, Vinny. He would never.
Never.
Okay, see that come back to bite me in the ass again.
I honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure for this one. I'm sure there has been, but
didn't I beat one of those other Mass Effect games without realizing there was melee anywhere in it?
You might have forgotten. A lot of those times. Listen,
I know.
Listen. Playing games once a week on a stream is not the way to do it. I'm not trying to justify why we all forget things, or like somebody has a good comment and then you're like, "That's awesome," and then you forget it. But like, there's a lot of times that stuff happens where somebody is like, "Oh, right, melee," and then you never use it again.
But that even happens when I'm playing games week to week of like, oh, the game taught me something when I was in the midst of like 50 tutorials. Like that thing just like went through one ear and out the other, and I just never touched it again.
I made it pretty far in Animal Crossing before somebody told me you could kick dirt over the holes. That's
I love
recent.
that.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's some shortcuts that people will tell me later on, like, oh, did you know if you held this button down while holding this down, it's a shortcut to go right into your inventory, or like holding up on the D-pad shortcuts you into the map screen, or something like that. That I feel like happens once in a while that I didn't know about. Basic mechanics, though, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I didn't do. Games are pretty good about tutorial stuff now. In the beginning
these days, yeah.
Whether you choose to read them or not, but they're pretty good these days. All right, next question.
Okay, yes, Finny, will you please read this one from Will?
Will do. With the lockdown keeping everyone indoors for the most part, my friends and I have started making our own podcast.
Oh, no.
Even though we are just doing it for ourselves. Oh. I still like to try and make it as polished as possible.
Let's call the phone call.
This podcast could have been an email, all right?
Yeah, that is. That's not something. Hey, we should record this phone call.
All right. So, I'm sorry, Will.
I'm not making fun.
I'm not.
This means I spent a lot of time editing out countless ums and ahs and stretches of silence. I've since
don't do that.
No, I've since compared this to your recent live episodes where you're able to carry on long conversations without any noticeable pauses or awkward stuttering. You're watching the wrong show. So my question is, how do you do it? I know you all have years of experience in podcasting. This is a very flattering email that is making me blush because it is very wrong. So it's simply a matter of practice. Have you ever had similar issues? I don't know if Abby appeared on any podcast prior to the Beastcast, but I don't seem to remember her having any trouble when she first joined. Will,
that's kind.
From Illinois. Will, first, let's say, back when I did the hotspot, I used to cut out every and ah from that podcast back when that podcast was only a half hour long, and that was a reasonable thing to do. You're
doing it now.
Yes, that was intentional. We got a lot of feedback about saying like a lot, and we do get a lot of mannerisms that come up. But yeah, I think you get used to it. I think there was a time, there will be some times when I will cut out dead air if it's funnier. If there's something funny in post in the audio version, obviously can't do it in a live version. Or add dead air. And I don't really add dead air. Usually if I tell a joke and it was super funny, I thought, and nobody laughed, I'll trim it up so that people, just make it sound punchier. And that's the right of the editor. I don't know. What do you think? You just gotta get used to it. I think doing the same podcast with the same people, you just learn the cadence.
Yeah. And I think also, in my experience at least, I think it's very kind to say that I was seamless to transition in. I do think there was a growing period. I also think I had a lot of experience doing improv and just talking. You also have to realize all of our jobs are literally just talking on camera for long periods of time, which I think that takes practice. That's a skill, I think. But I think I know when I was first coming onto the Beastcast, I was very conscious to not try to be funny. You know what I mean? To just let myself naturally be funny, or let myself just say a joke when I felt like it, but not necessarily feel like I always had to say a joke, or I always had to have a punchy line to everything, or I always had to weigh in necessarily. But I think just being your honest self. I also think, in all honesty, do we need more podcasts? Do your podcast well. I'm sure it's great, but I don't know. I think just have fun. Try to have fun. And I also would not sweat the ums and uhs. I think the best podcasts are the ones with minimal editing. I think some editing is good for a more structured podcast, like a D&D podcast. But I think if you're editing actual conversations and uhs, and it's going to make it difficult to want to continue doing it because it's so labor intensive.
Yeah. There's a certain joy I would have if I some people now. This is not us, but it's funny because I deal with this situation a lot in terms of production timelines. There are people who just do a podcast once a week, and that is all they do. And then so they will record a podcast, and then they will actually have time to edit it the next day, and then they will put it up. And these things happen.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's bananas, and it's funny because sometimes I have to deal with some folks that are just listen, not. Externally, fans are all great. Sometimes internally, be listen, we don't have time. I got to move on to the next thing. This is too many steps to process this. This has to be wrapped up in an hour. That's our workflow, and we have to move on to the next thing, which can be stressful. And that's why the editing, I've made it here. So I'm pushing these music cues live to my local recording here so that later on I don't have to go and reinsert them for every random yee-haw I put in and then find that spot to reinsert it. But that means I have to do a separate recording. It's a whole production thing. Anyway, I think the more you do it, the better you get at it. Like anything else, it's a muscle. Use it. And if you do it with the same people over and over again, you kind of learn.
I also think, I feel what I've seen, at least with a lot of podcasts and a lot of stuff like this, TV shows are like this, I feel for the first 3 to 10 episodes, you're figuring out what it is.
Yeah.
And you kind of figure out the cadence, you figure out the jokes, you figure out the segments, and that kind of happens as you naturally do it. You can go in with a plan, but that stuff I think comes naturally too.
Yep. And it's just about the time it stops being fun. So get past your third or fourth episode, then it starts becoming work, and then it gets harder to get everybody to show up because I've said this for years. It is usually about make it to the 4th episode before you cancel it, so that you can kind of get your feet on the ground. But also, that's when the novelty starts wearing off, and then realizing if you have to hit a regular schedule, it can get very hard. So 4 episodes in, keep going. It's where it's going to get hard. It's where it's not maybe going to be as fun anymore, or you want to do something else. And then doing it for the rest of your life is also tough, and never missing a week. So yeah, Will, congratulations on the new podcast. I hope it's a banger. I hope you're having fun, and you can put it out
don't
there
listen
someday.
to me. I'm sure it's great. Have fun. It
fun.
seems like a fun, creative project to do with your friends.
Totally. And I just one last addendum here, just a very important thing to make sure you have a successful podcast. Apologize for the audio quality every single week and promise you're going to fix it, but then never do it. Never, ever fix it. Never change anything. Never actually adjust anything. Just the apologies are all that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing how many top 10 podcasts are like dog shit audio.
It's because the content's more important, truly.
You're right. I look, you can, but it's nice to have both, right?
Yes.
I like an edited podcast.
I've told you what with 4, we never edited a single podcast.
I think it depends on what the content of the podcast is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I think editing,
absolutely right. Yeah.
like, there's got to be some of it, but I think, like, our podcast is so conversational. Like, the idea of getting rid of ums and uhs and pauses, I think
It wouldn't
one
make
gets
sense,
rid of
yeah.
a little bit of the heart, but it's also like, that's so much work for nothing. The audience is fine with it. A lot of them listen to it at like speed, like it's sped up or whatever to go
2.5
quickly.
times,
So like,
yeah.
That shit is insane to me.
I know that's
get it.
wild.
I totally get it and why people do it, but like I tried listening to one podcast that way and I went insane 5 minutes in. I could not do it.
I'm sure you could figure it out. Like, I'm sure you get used to it though, especially if it's like a very news heavy show. I feel like you could, I mean, this is gonna, make NPR people cringe, but I feel like you could listen to like a lot of that stuff on 1.5.
Oh, sure. I was listening to this podcast called Dirty John, which is good. I mean, it's like kind of horrifying. It's like a crime podcast, but the host of that podcast speaks so slowly that honestly, looking back, maybe I should have sped it up. It was great though. But I think a podcast like that, yes, obviously it has to be edited. I want it to be like a tight edited thing, like an NPR, like a fucking
Radio
This American
Lab.
Life. Edit that shit. Radio Lab, edit it to the 9s. But like, if you're just a bunch of friends sitting around, don't do that. And I also think in my experience, I have like seen people try to do podcasts where they're like, oh shit, okay, we got to remember to edit that part out. And then like, oh, okay, we got to remember to edit this part out. And then it's like, it's so hard to remember to do that. And like, you have to like go through and like parse it in, and then like stuff winds up in the final product. Like, it just makes it much harder.
Some podcasts even have people who will just edit it. I have learned too. People have told me, people who just take notes and and are sitting there and I love when they would say that to someone off camera and be like, you got that, take that note. Oh no, they're shaking their head over there. Look at them. Oh no, they're doing that. It's a different world. It's a different world.
Hey, before we get to the next question, I just have something that came in through email, and I don't know, it's been some of the theme today. No, it's not about hair loss. So it's like the official press release for that game Chorus.
Yeah.
The one with the spaceship.
It's the first time I've ever seen the sort of like lead say space combat shooter Chorus reaching Xbox One. It's with the number 1, XSX, PS4, PS5, Stadia in 2021.
Yeah, you like it? You've seen the abbreviations now for all the platforms.
I guess XSX makes sense.
Yes.
If you say so.
I mean, Abby is just one step closer to SSX coming back.
Yes,
you're right there on the doorstep.
Yeah, it's.
I want it.
You're a typo away.
I'm just gonna.
All right, that's all I had.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Anyway, can we edit out that silence after Jeff said?
Yeah, don't worry. It's gonna be a real funny joke. Don't worry. Hold on. Let me check with the off-camera person over there. Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay. Great.
He's grabbing more spiders.
No. I was talking to the our producer over there, who is all they do is spend the week editing the podcast. Abby, we should get one of those. How do we find?
I would love that.
What's next, Abby?
Okay, Alex, will you please
Yes.
read this one from Travis?
Man, you're really giving me, you're really indicating something with the ones you're having me choose to read here.
This is how they fell. What do you want?
I'm just giving you shit. Here we go. Hello, Beast. 13 years ago, when I was moving out of an apartment, I threw away some trash. And sitting on the top of the pile of the garbage inside the dumpster was a Super Nintendo box. I grabbed it and brought it inside, and it had the complete system, cables, and 2 controllers, and it worked. At the time, I had about 20 SNES games, but no console. So, this was an incredible find for a poor college student. My question for all of you is, what is your best dumpster dive or thrift store find you've ever had?
Oh, now I see why you picked Alex.
Well,
Okay.
I'm trying to think the last time I was up to my chin in a dumpster. What the fuck did I take away?
That's syphilis.
I feel like I found a not insignificant amount of furniture on the side of the road, but I think one thing. So this is a real like college. I'm living in trash, but I'm making the best of it. Find. I found a bunch of cinder blocks. I like just moved into a new apartment, and clearly like the last person in there just was like threw away a bunch of like furniture. Found a bunch of cinder blocks, and I found this really shitty bookshelf. I took apart the bookshelf, and I used the planks and the cinder blocks to make like a TV stand. And I used it for literally like 4 or 5 years, and I finally got a new TV stand like an adult. But for a long time, I had these really shitty wooden planks on cinder blocks that held up my TV and all of my games and stuff.
Honestly, I respect that. I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah. It's nice. It's not like garbage dumpster.
I mean, that's.
I mean, it
I
was
think that's
fully
the
garbage.
Yeah.
Like, like that. The bookshelf was trashed.
I'll say this. You know when like they do those cleanups for neighborhoods, but like people, you know, they leave out like massive stuff that they don't want anymore. It's just like stuff you can't just put in the garbage can.
Like a fridge.
I don't actually think fridge is like the thing you can't put out there because you gotta like
you gotta call a guy for that.
Yeah, you gotta like take the free, like prove that there's no Freon in it. Or
okay, sorry,
like
I used a bad example then.
You did the one thing that can't
washing
work.
machine.
But like I'm always blown away as to how much of that stuff just kind of like disappears. I mean, it's testament to people like finding a way to reuse stuff, and ultimately it's good. It's less trash in the world, but like there's no shortage of like being able to repurpose stuff, and like you could make that work. Then you don't have to be in a dumpster for that solution as well.
Oh, absolutely not.
They were throwing away the mic compressor I have here at the office. They were throwing away this busted mic compressor, and I took it home and didn't, since I don't use all the fun features of it, just hot wired it to work, and that is what I use here. It is an expensive
you stole it. That's cool.
mic compressor.
You stole it.
I did.
It's
Sounds like
garbage.
you stole it.
You can't steal garbage. It's not allowed.
I don't think
that.
I don't think that's technically stealing. Actually, I should charge them for it since I'm using it at home now. For
yes,
that's a good point.
You should write it off.
I should write it off. Yeah. It's there's some cool stuff you could do if you have a little courage going in there to try and just rewire something, because there are a lot of people that just throw something away because a button's broken or something, and not realize that it just sticks, or this is it can be salvaged. Electronic stuff, that is. Some stuff absolutely not worth your time to go in and get. I haven't picked up anything off the side of the road in a while. We put a lot of stuff in our town. We have like a message board, and we just put stuff out there, so we don't.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's good, and people will just be like, "Hey, we're putting out these kids' toys or this thing. Anybody want it? Come pick it up." Gently loved.
Or you somehow trick me into taking it.
Or I just give it to I make Baccalar come drive by my house and then load up his car with Paw Patrol and PJ Masks stuff. All right, next email.
Okie dokie. Jeff, will you please read this one from Craig?
Most certainly. Hi, Beastcast people. Since I'm unable to work and stuck at home, I've started putting together a Dungeons and Dragons campaign to play with my friends online. For a fun little callback, the villain of the campaign will be revealed to be my old character who has grown mad with power in the year since his last appearance. This got me wondering who I would be as an NPC in my fantasy world. As I am a graphic designer, I concluded I would probably be an artisan of some sort, like stained glass or something like that. If you were a Dungeons and Dragons NPC, who would you be?
I think I would be the jester. To the king and the queen.
Okay. Would you have just a bit part, like as they walk into the throne room, the jester is leaving, and that's it. That's the end of it.
I would give him like a little riddle, like a funny little riddle, which is like a clue, and then I would be killed off.
Immediately dead.
Yeah.
I would be a blacksmith. I want to be the town smithy, just hammering away
just
on
like
stuff.
Update their armor.
Yeah, make a ton of money and then start my own game.
I love it.
I've always said I'd never had much interest in acting, but if I ever was going to do acting, the one role I always wanted to play was the guy that shows up 5 minutes into a Law and Order episode who doesn't really have a part so much as he's just there at the very beginning of an investigation. Like they walk into a bodega and he's like, yeah, no, I ain't never seen him, but I know he hangs out around the corner around that way. And then you never hear from that guy again. And then he shows up in he shows up in like 30 more episodes in similar roles, but like never the same character. So that would be me in D&D. I think that would be my NPC role. I would be the guy who's like, yeah, I ain't never been on that quest before, but the guy down the corner there, he probably knows more about it. You should go talk to him.
I like it. D&D character actor. Bacalar, do you got anybody?
I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm not good. I don't know. Like even when we do our holiday character things, once you give me the character, I'm fine, but I can't make the character.
He's a giant snake. You're a snake.
Right? Like so I don't know.
Just say you're a snake. You're a snake.
No, but
that's
cool so it's too on brand and people are gonna
You can be on brand. That's all right.
No, have something fun. Don't be on brand.
I also don't I don't have enough D&D like understanding for me to, I think, accurately explain the kind of NPC I would be. Does that make sense?
Okay, interesting.
All right. Have you ever seen a fantasy movie? On this. Have you ever read a guide before about D&D?
No, like what? No, that's the thing. Like, would I be like some sort of like old game repair man? Who, like
I don't understand. You'd be a pinball wizard. Yes, you would be a wizard who just shoots pinball.
I get it with like the pointy hat.
Yeah. There you go. We did it. We finally found it.
Thank you.
All right, Abby. What's next? Oh, or is that it?
Okay, I think that's it.
Well, that can mean only one thing, folks. That I'm bald. No, that can mean only one thing.
Wow.
It is. Well, I mean, it's the truth. We just tell the truth here.
Or am I? Wrong with being bald.
I've been wearing this hat forever. Who knows what's underneath this hat? Maybe we'll find out at the end of this one.
I bet it'll be a bunch of hair.
I bet it'll be a bunch of baby
one
spiders.
day, can you wear a hat? Vinny, one day, can you wear a hat and just have bangs?
Yeah, just have like the back coming out and the front.
I just want some bangs. But I don't care about the back. I just want bangs.
I just want to with the illusion. It is time for corrections. If you've got a correction, you can send them in to Beastcast at giantbomb.com. That is Beastcast at giantbomb.com. Abby Russell, what do we have for corrections?
Jeff, we just have the one. I believe it's mostly for Alex, but Jeff, why don't you read this one from David?
That's fine. We just want to make it clear this is not necessarily for me, right?
No, it's just because, I feel like Alex just read one. Sure. It at Alex, like with the scorn and a pointy waggy finger.
Scorn, I get it. On the most recent episode of the Beastcast, Alex said that AMC banned Universal movies because Universal had bragged about the amount of money Trolls World Tour brought in. Although Universal did release a press release touting Trolls World Tour's success, the reason that AMC banned future Universal releases was because Universal also said that going forward, it planned to release movies in theaters and for home rental on the same day rather than the typical 90-day window from theatrical to digital. Regal later joined in with AMC and said it would ban any movies that did not respect that 90-day window. Neither side has backed down on their statements, so we will see what happens when and if movie theaters reopen. That's a really good point because I think what we're learning with this time is that it's pretty much an accelerant for all progress in everything. So that will if I was a betting person, which I am, I'm not sure I would bet on the movie theaters.
Well, it's not only just that it's an accelerant on things like this, but it's also really proving like the tenuous connection entertainment industries and the sort of adjacent industries that rely on them have, because up to this point, movie theaters still exist because they do well enough, not because companies like movie theaters or they care about putting movies in theaters. They care about whatever their best revenue stream in is. And
and they're vessels for popcorn. I mean, and
soda pop. Yeah. That's where the profits
so
are.
like at this point, you know, not to go back to the George Costanza thing, but the theaters, they have no hand in this. There's no strength of position here. At this point, if movie companies just start saying, yeah, we're putting all our shit out same day, digital, release, they're just like, well, we've got nothing. We have nothing. There's nothing
no
for
leverage
us.
whatsoever. What's the leverage? What's your leverage?
Oh, what is the leverage? Like cachet that you're like, it was on the silver screen? Is it I mean, they must make a profit.
No, leave your house. Leave.
Distribution?
Come to us.
Is it distribution to the, like, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I don't know how the movie industry works, but thank you for that. Nice. Thank you for that elaboration. As somebody put it in the chat, elaboration more than a correction. That, I think, is going to do it for this week's show, folks. What a show. What a time. I want to remind everybody, if you are listening to this live or if you're listening to this recorded, either way, that you can go to giantbomb.com/upgrade and get yourself a premium subscription. We do appreciate it if you can. If you can, that's $35 for the year. It's a steal. I don't even know what the math is on it. So if you're able, if you're of means, we do appreciate it. We do run on subscription. And if you can't, then I hope you've been enjoying all the free stuff we've been putting up. GiantBomb.com, usually in /chat is where all that free stuff goes. On Fridays, we're going to try and do a little bit more focus on premium. Actually, a lot more focus on premium, if it's anything like last week. Where it'll mostly be premium day. We'll have the hotspot again. Alex, you're joining us, right?
I am. I have no idea what you're going to ask me about, but I'm going to join.
Well, I have no idea either. But you've got a long history, and we can ask you about anything.
Okay.
Get this thing going.
Oh, wait, I never agreed to that. But okay. All right,
anything.
Sure, yeah.
You can survive this podcast, Alex. You could survive anything. Are we doing Minecraft again?
I think so. I thought
Why
so.
not? I got a lot of building to do.
I was down. Yeah, Minecraft, hopefully, and then I'm gonna do the final charity stream. So I said I was going to do it every Friday through the end of the lockdown. But the lockdown, I think, is going to be going on for quite a long time, and I don't necessarily want to wring our audience dry. I do appreciate everyone who's donated, but we have raised over $50,000 already, which I think is amazing, and I think we can raise more. One last hurrah. But right now, I believe we're going to be playing Splatoon 2 tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, an hour earlier than usual. And I believe Danica and Matt Pasquale are going to be joining us, and then maybe another guest. So
awesome.
Hopefully I'll see you guys there as well.
8
Thank you so much to those who've donated or watched.
8 p.m. Friday.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Please be there. It'll be free.
Thank you very much, Alex Navarro. Thank you, Jeff Bacalar. Thank you, Abby Russell. Everybody stay sane and safe out there, and do your best. Be nice, be kind. This has been the Giant Beastcast, and we will be back next week.